All right, guys, welcome everyone to our presenter school. First of all, I just want to say welcome you. I just want to welcome you guys all to this call. Very excited to have you guys here today on the presenter school. So, for those of you guys that don't know what presenter school is all about, this is an affiliate only call, right? And the goal is really this call is designed to really create independent speakers, independent presenters, and teach people how to become the best conveyors of information possible when it comes to showing people the plan, when it comes to showing people iconic, when it comes to showing people our sub brands. That's what the goal of this call is to teach you guys exactly how to become the best speakers and the best presenters possible, right? So today we have Shawnee, Ace, and Mel all going to be covering different sections of our presenter school today. With a lot of experience from a lot of different organizations, right? Obviously, we got Shawnee representing FCB, we got Ace representing VIP, and Mel representing RFG. And we have all three organizations coming together to really put together the best presenter school possible because everyone comes from different schools of learning how to present. They've all learned how to present in their own way, from their own experience, from different mentorship. And this will allow you guys to get the best possible experience to become the best possible public speakers and presenters. So first of all, if you guys are excited for the call and to lock in, drop a me in the chat if you guys are really excited to learn today. I know all three speakers are going to drop a ton of value today. So with that being said, let me break down for you guys the three core stages of how we're going to be running today's presenter school, okay? So the first part of presenter school is going to be hosted by Mel, and she's going to be going over three sections. Number one, how to open an event. Number two, how to tell your story effectively. Number three, how to get to know a prospect on a one-on-one level. Then the second part is going to be by Ace. And Ace is going to go over how to present the actual opportunity at an event with a PowerPoint slide and whatever style he's going to be presenting. And then from there, he's going to go over a little bit of public speaking tips and then also how to present on a one-on-one level. And then finally, Shawnee is going to be last and he's going to go over closing both after an exposure and on a one-on-one. Okay, so, and also he's going to go over handling objections. So this training, guys, is going to be intense. It's going to take a few hours, but it's really going to teach you guys. You guys should leave this with the knowledge to become elite presenters, and then the application is up to you guys, right? Because you could have all the knowledge in the world, but if you're not able to apply it, none of that matters. So that's what this call is going to be about, guys, and it's going to really train you guys. And you guys should all leave this call as elite level speakers, as elite level presenters, people that can convey the information and show people iconic, whether it be in front of a room of 100 people or in a one-on-one in a coffee shop on a very, very high level. Does that make sense to everyone? Can I get a yes in the chat if that makes sense to you guys all today? Drop a yes in the chat if that makes sense to you guys. Okay. So let's get into it. So the first person I'm going to be bringing up, the first individual I'm going to be bringing up, she's actually right next to me right now, funny enough. But she's been in this industry, guys, for over 8 years in this space. She's been able to lead hundreds of people in this industry, teach and coach hundreds of people in regards to getting involved in the trading space and the network marketing world. And she's spoken on stages hundreds of times. She's spoken in rooms in front of thousands of people, big, massive convention rooms. She's been able to speak on stage. So she has a lot of experience when it comes to public speaking. And one of the things I would say is, like, when she speaks, she brings that energy. She brings that fire. She brings that next level fire and energy that people just gravitate towards. So if you ever heard her speak, you know the energy and vibe that she brings. And she's going to be really training you guys today on the first part of an STP. Okay, so I want you guys to show some love, blow up the chat box for Mel, and Mel's gonna take it away for you guys right now. And yeah, the floor is yours, Mel. Take it away.
What's good, y'all? Hope everyone is doing absolutely amazing. I'm super excited to be on this call today with you guys and just really share the secret sauce, when it comes to opening up and an event. Sorry, guys, let me just admit a few people. Is it just me co-host or? Okay, yeah. If you guys can, those of you who are co-hosts, if you guys can let people in as well, that would be absolutely amazing. So, yeah, I just want to get straight into it. I don't want to take up too much of you guys' time, and I do only have an hour. So I want to really just get into everything when it comes to opening up the initial part of a presentation, right? Or, opening up an event, and all these things are very, very important. So I'm excited to really just get into it. If you guys are excited for presenter school, if you guys are excited, dive right into it. If you guys have your notebooks out, let me see them. Your notebooks and your pencils, let me see them. Awesome. Perfect. All right. If you guys are excited, drop some fire emojis in the chat box and we will kick things off. All righty. Awesome. Cool. So, like Matt said, right, the first thing I'm going to be talking about, we're going to be breaking down to 3 sections, right? Now, the first thing that I wanted to talk about is opening an event, right? Like an actual big event. This is not on a Zoom call or anything like that. This is an event, okay? Now, when it comes to an event, and this is really, really important for you guys to understand, is that most people, like most presenters, they don't really lose their audience halfway through the presentation. They lose them in the very beginning because they don't know how to attract the audience. They don't know how to, engage with them right up from the jump. Like, I'll tell you guys right now, if you notice, how you notice when the presentation isn't going well, that halftime when people take a break and then you come back and you start the whole event again at halftime, and then there's like barely, like, a lot of seats are empty. Like, that's when things aren't going well. So that's why it's really important for the opener to kick things off with the right energy. Okay, the right energy. Let me actually just keep the chat box open here too, just so I can have it here as well. Yeah, guys, get those cameras on if you can, for sure, for sure, for sure. Awesome. So, like I was saying, now within the first 30 seconds, when you're speaking as an opener of a presentation, people have already started making decisions. They're deciding if you're confident. They're deciding if you're prepared. They're deciding if you're pretty much just worth listening to. And that's why your opening matters so much. See, one of the biggest mistakes that I see a lot of presenters make is walking in front of a room, for example, and saying things like, "Can everybody hear me?" Or "Can everybody see my screen?" Like if you're doing like a what's it called? If it's like a Zoom, like, can you guys see, right? Or, people sometimes, and I know because I fell victim to this. I used to do this, where it's like, "Hey guys, it's my first time speaking. I'm a little nervous, but like, don't do that. Okay, the moment you say those things, like, you've pretty much already given your power away, right? Instead, when you walk into the front of the room, your goal is very simple. It's very simple. Your goal is simply to own the room, and everything starts with energy. And one thing you guys were going to learn about presenting is that energy is transferred before words even are. And people, they're not going to buy into your information first. Okay, they're going to buy into your conviction. And this is why I tell people, even if you don't know what you're talking about, talk like you know what you're talking about, because conviction is so, so strong. And if you can walk up like you own the room and you know what you're talking about, even if you might mess up, even if you might forget something, own it like you know what you're talking about. And people are going to listen. They're going to be naturally gravitated towards that. Trust me, I know. And if you don't look excited to be there, why should they even be excited to listen to you? And that's the biggest thing. I've heard so many people sometimes, they come on stage with this, especially as an opener, you can't have like a monotone voice. I don't know if you guys ever went to school, you listen to like those monotone professors, and like I could not even bear being in class. Like, it was so boring. That's how I feel if I'm listening to a monotone person talk on stage. And especially if you're the one opening the room. Because if you're the one opening the room, you got to get the person with the most energy. And if that's you, you got to find a way to bring that energy. So when you walk up to the stage, don't rush. Just walk with purpose. Stand tall. Pause for a second if you need to, right? Smile. Okay, make eye contact. Let the room settle before you even speak. And sometimes people will be like, "Oh, but it's so awkward because there's that silence while I'm waiting for everybody to settle down." It's not awkward, it's confidence. And the strongest presenters, they're not the ones who talk the fastest. They're the ones who are the most comfortable being in front of the room. And once you've established your presence, the next step is pretty much just creating connection. Okay? And this is huge. Because one of the biggest mistakes that I've seen people make when they go on stage, right, is basically they allow the audience to stay passive, okay, to just sit there and stand there. Like, the longer people sit there just listening and not doing anything, it's easier for them to just mentally check out. Because instead, your whole thing is you need to get people involved immediately. And you guys got to ask some questions that require participation, that require people to, raise their hands, say something, choose a person. For example, how many of you are here because you're looking for something more, right? Wait for the hands. Then ask, how many of you, want more freedom, more time with your family, or more financial security? Again, wait for the hands. Now, something powerful has happened. What's happened? They're no longer just watching you. They're actually participating. And that's what you need. You need participation from people. You can't just be sitting there talking and everyone just looking at you like this. And the moment that someone participates, they're like psychologically more invested in everything that's going to come out next. And after you've connected with the audience, now it's time to establish credibility. Okay. And this is where a lot of people make another mistake. They think that credibility means just talking and telling their entire life story. It doesn't, right? Your credibility, I would say, like, it's different when you're doing a one-on-one. I would say probably in like a presentation, maybe take like 30 to 60 seconds. That's it. Okay. Your audience only needs to know three things: who you are, why you're here. Okay, write this down: who you are, why you're here, and why they should listen to you. That's it. That's it. You just got to give them enough to trust you, but not so much. And this is where I see people, a lot of people mess up. You have to give them, like I said, enough to trust you, but not so much that your introduction becomes the whole presentation. Sometimes I see people going into their story and talking about their story, and then I swear it's like a 20-minute opening when it should have been 5 minutes. And they're just going on and on and on and on. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, like sometimes I'll literally, I'm not even joking. I've been in the back of the rooms before, and I literally want it to be like this. Like hurry up, like let's get a move on, because just on and on and on. And that's how you lose people, right? You have to understand what you have to talk about has to like sound super, like a lot of conviction, but you have to also get straight to the point. So when people go on and on and on and beat around the bush, and it's just like your job isn't to explain everything, to explain the whole life story, right? You have to understand that people, just because like this might be the most important part of your opening, right? People don't follow information. Right? I want you guys to understand that like they follow possibility, and facts appeal to the mind, but vision speaks to the heart. So you guys got to understand, like, you guys got to give people a vision when you're speaking to them on stage. You guys got to make people understand what it is that they're here to do. Why are they here, right? What is the goal for them while they're at this presentation, but they're about to hear everything, right? Like I said, your job isn't to explain everything. Your job is to just help people imagine what's possible for them in their own lives. Now, you might say something like, what if tonight wasn't just another presentation? What if one decision, one conversation, or one opportunity completely changed the direction of your next 5 years? Now they're thinking about you. They're not thinking about you, sir, anymore. Now they're thinking about themselves. They're thinking about, okay, like, where can I be in the next 5 years? What can I do? And that's exactly where you want them. And finally, the last step is you need to be able to frame the presentation. And this is really key because people, they just naturally want to know where they're going, right? They naturally want to know what's happening. If they don't know what's coming, they become distracted, wondering like what the point even is. So you have to like remove uncertainty. Tell them exactly what they're about to experience, right? And that's why it's important in the beginning of the presentation is to help you understand this is how the whole presentation is going to go by. If it's like let's say a longer training, this is how the day is going to go by. For example, tonight we're going to cover 3 things. First, we're going to talk about what we do. Second thing you're going to hear tonight is why this opportunity is growing so quickly. And maybe third and last final thing you're going to hear tonight is how ordinary people are creating extraordinary results through this business. Now everyone knows exactly what to expect. So they know exactly what to expect from the presentation. And before you transition, also never forget to edify the next speaker. Remember this, people will often see someone the way that you introduce them, right? If you introduce someone casually, they're gonna be received casually. But if you build them up with excitement and belief, like the audience will lean in before they even begin speaking. Sometimes when, like, honestly, Manny does such a good job of this. If you guys know, like, I always rave about Manny when it comes to edification, because Manny's one of the best edifiers. That's what you want to call it, edifiers that I've ever seen. Like, I swear, Manny hypes, not even hypes, but like just the way he brings people up. It's like you're just so excited to hear them speak before they even walk on stage. You might not even know the person, but the way that Manny, for example, edifies someone, it's like, I'm so excited to hear this individual. I may have never heard of them before. I may have never heard them speak, but the way that this person is edifying them, I'm so excited to hear them speak. I'm so excited to hear what they have to say. And I might not even know them. And that's why, like I said, if you build someone up with excitement and belief, the audience will lean in before they even begin speaking. Okay? Your introduction, it creates the expectation. Okay? So again, just to quickly recap, every powerful event opening, okay, follows 5 simple steps. So again, write this down. Number 1, bring energy. Okay? Walk with confidence, smile, pause, and own the room. Okay? Energy is contagious. Honestly, for me, like, if you don't have energy, like, I don't even want to listen to you. I'm sorry. That's just how I am. Maybe everyone's different, but for me, for example, I gravitate towards energy. If you're not someone who has good energy when you're speaking, I'm not saying you have to be a loud speaker or talk the way every single person talks. Like, for example, Manny, in my opinion, is one of the best public speakers I've ever seen. But now not everybody can speak the way that Manny can. But you can still bring energy. You can still speak the way that you speak, but still bring energy. And that's what's important. So bring the energy, bring the confidence, right? Bring that walk, that talk, right? Second is create communication, or sorry, connection. Create connection. Get people involved immediately, okay? Ask questions and encourage participation. So like as soon as you guys get up there, right away, start asking for hands, start maybe, asking questions, what brought you out here today, honestly, just like, what got you interested, whatever, just to get people going and flowing. I hope you guys are taking notes. Third, establish credibility, okay? Share just enough of your story, like I said, for people to trust you and then move on. Don't drag it, just move on. And then number 4, what we talked about, create vision. Help people imagine what could be possible for their lives, right? What they could be looking forward to that could help them make a huge change, a drastic change, and that could completely change their situation. And finally, what do we say? 5, frame the presentation. Tell your audience where you're taking them and confidently transition to the next speaker, right? That's where you edify. And if you can consistently master these 5 areas, I'm telling you guys, you're going to capture people's attention from the very beginning. You're going to build trust quickly, and you're going to create like the kind of atmosphere where people actually want to listen, not just because they feel like they were forced to because someone told them, oh, you should come to this event, and now you're going to listen to whatever we have to say, but they actually want to be there. They're engaged, they're interested, they feel like they've been pulled in, so now they're just like involved. That's what you want from people. Because remember this, people don't remember perfect presentations. If anything, I remember the presentations that go for me. I remember the presentations that are the funniest. That like the lights may have shut out for 2 seconds because there was like an emergency. I think the last Hotel X event we had, there was like a little fire alarm going on. Like those are the things that I remember when they don't go perfect. They remember presentations. People remember. Yeah, it was funny. People remember how you made them feel, right? And that feeling starts the moment that you walk into the room. Okay, so if you guys understand, when it comes to presenting and opening a stage opening, because opener is the biggest part. People talk about, closing it off. That's great too. People talk about, the presenters or the speakers doing their thing. And that's great. You need to have all of those in check. But to be honest, like if you don't open the room properly, it doesn't matter what, because sometimes it's very hard to bring that energy once it's already been driven all the way down. And that's why the opener, in my opinion, or like, let's say the MCs, for example, of an event, is the most important, because they're the ones, their job is to keep the event live. Their job is to keep everything flowing. Their job, is to keep that energy and that excitement in the room. And if they can't do that, if they can't hold that down, who cares what anybody else has to say? And that's why it's so important. So if you're someone who's going to open up, like, I'm not trying to put pressure on y'all, but I'm gonna say I'm at a little pressure, because to be honest, when you're opening, it falls on you, unfortunately, but it does. So you got to bring that energy. You got to bring the excitement. You got to be ready to, fire up a crowd. And sometimes it can be very hard. You guys got to read the room also too, but it can be very hard sometimes, but you got to fire up a crowd, because that's your job. That's your duty as an opener. All right. Does that make sense? Do you guys understand that? Do you guys understand how to open up a presentation? Drop a 2 in the chat box if you guys are with me so far. Drop a 2 in the chat box if you guys are with me. Perfect. All right. Now, the next thing we're going to go into, okay, number 2 is telling your story. And we're going to go in depth into this because, one of the most powerful skills that you can have in network marketing, especially, is the ability to be able to tell your story effectively, that like it hits someone so hard to their core that they're like, damn. Like when I tell you guys, and I'm not even trying to say this just like, be like, oh, cocky, whatever, but like, to be honest, like sometimes I feel like I generally don't even need to pitch the presentation sometimes, because I feel like my story already sells people, because I've just perfected it so much to the point where like it'll hit someone and be like, damn, like that's inspiring. Like I need to do this business so I can change my life before they've even seen the business. All right. So again, when it comes to telling your story, not your entire life story, not every detail about how you got started. I'm talking about a story that's clear, that's authentic, and that can be shared in like 3 minutes or less, 3-4 minutes or less. Okay? Because the reality is people, they don't really make decisions because they heard every single fact. People make decisions because they connected with something, right? Maybe they saw themselves in your story. Your story creates connection. Your vision creates belief. And when you combine those 2 things, people just naturally become curious. Like that's just how people are. And one of the biggest mistakes people make is talking too much. They just go on and on and on. They spend 10 minutes explaining every single detail of the business, every single itty bitty product, like you guys, if you guys know about colors and stuff, like not every single person is green, right? Not every single person is so logical that they want to know every detail about the business. Some people just want to know, can I make money? Some people want to know, are people making money? Just show them the results chat, you know? But sometimes we spend like a whole hour going into every detail of the business, every product, every compensation plan, every rank, everything. And then when we talk about our story, we go into everything. Same thing, just when we talk about the business, people go into every detail of the business. They talk about every single, oh, I've used every single product. I've done this. Oh, they talk about, oh, I achieved all of these ranks, this and this and that. No one cares. And by the end, bro, people have completely checked out. They've completely checked out. And remember this, okay? Like literally write this down. Confused people don't join. Confused people don't join. Inspired people ask questions. Okay, your goal is not to explain everything. Your goal is to simply create enough curiosity that someone just wants to know more. And the easiest way to do that is by following a simple 4-part formula. Okay, so I want you guys to write this down. Okay, so 4-part formula and telling your story. Part number 1, who you were. Okay, this should take about like 30 seconds. 30 seconds. Because the biggest mistake people make here is they start leading with success. Nobody relates to success. How can someone relate to it? You're talking to someone who wants to maybe join this business. Let's say, for example, someone who's struggling financially, and then you start off by saying, "Oh yeah, I was making this much money or that." Like, how is that even relatable? You're talking to someone who's literally broke as a joke, and they want to come into this business and make money, and you're out here talking about your success. People relate to struggle. Think back to your life. I want you guys to think back to your life before you joined, this business. Before you got into network marketing, before you got into trading, right? Think about your life before this opportunity. What was missing? Maybe you had a good job, but you had no freedom. Maybe you were constantly stressed out about money. Maybe you were a student trying to figure out your future and you didn't know what you were going to do. Maybe you simply felt like there just had to be more than what you were doing. Start there. For example, you could say something like before this, I was working long hours, like crazy hours, making like, okay, decent money, but I constantly felt like I was building someone else's dream instead of my own. Or I was a student, studying biomed at York University, who honestly had no idea what I wanted to do in my life. I wasn't passionate about the degree that I was studying, but I just knew I wanted more than spending the next 40 years working for somebody else. See how relatable that is? People hear that and immediately, they begin thinking, damn, that sounds like me. I don't really know if I'm happy or passionate about what I want to do. I don't know if I want to spend the next 40 years clocking into a job that I hate so I can make my boss's dreams come true while I just sit there collecting minimum wage or collecting whatever I can to see to end break even at the end of the year. Once you've created relatability, right, and someone can relate to you and they're like, damn, like, you know what, like I've kind of gone through that. Or even if you don't really have a really relatable story, you can say, you know what, I've helped a lot of people, to be honest, that went through this or were going through a lot of financial struggle, or were single parents that couldn't afford to feed their kids, or, just wanted extra money because they were only making enough to simply get by, but not to be able to vacation and actually enjoy life, which is what we're supposed to do, right? Those are the things that you need to talk about. That's relatable, right? Now, like I said, once you've created relatability, now you're going to move on to part number 2, okay? Part number 2 is what you found. And again, keep this short. This isn't where you explain, I guess, like every detail of the business. Oh, I found this business that teaches me network marketing and they teach me all the skills for trading. And if you go here, we have all these different scanners and you can use Killshot and you can use DeFi. No, you can interchange with No one wants to know all that. Who cares? They don't care about that. Again, you have to keep it short. Like I said, this isn't where you explain every single detail of the business. Instead, you explain what captured your attention, right? Because what's number 2? What you found. So explain, what is the thing that captured your attention that you found that could help you? Talk about the vehicle. Talk about the mentorship. Talk about the opportunity. For example, you could say like, when you talk about basically who you were and then you get into what I found, you could say, I came across a community of people who, were teaching financial education, trading, entrepreneurship, and multiple ways to create income online. And what stood out to me wasn't just the opportunity, it was the mentorship and the environment. Notice now that you're sharing, right? You're not selling. There's a big difference. And then we move on to part number 3. Okay, part number 3. Write this down. What happened since? Okay, so who were you before this business? What is it that you were looking for, right? What and then, what did you find from this business, right? To be able to get to where it is that you need to be. And now what's happened since you joined the business? Since you joined the business and you started using the products and be someone a part of the information, right? What's happened since? Now this is where people think they need huge results. And this is why I like, oh my gosh, I don't even want to get into this because it's gonna be like a whole other training on its own. But this is why I always talk to people about like not needing results to build this business, right? What was number 3? It was what happened since. So what's happened since? So number 1 was who you were, 2, what you found, and 3, what's happened since you joined. Okay. And like I said, people always think here that they need huge results. They need to be able to tell someone that I started. People think that everyone needs to have the same story. I started broke as a joke, then I joined the business. Now I'm a multi-millionaire. But like, what? You're gonna wait till you go? Were you gonna wait till you go 7 figures to go talk to your friends about this? You're gonna wait till you go 6 figures to then open your mouth about this? Doesn't make any sense. That's why people like they feel like they need so many results, but you don't. Because transformation doesn't always mean massive income. That's not what transformation means. Transformation isn't just money. Sometimes transformation is confidence. Sometimes transformation is personal growth. Sometimes it's simply just becoming a different person. Maybe you've learned more about money. Maybe maybe you haven't gone there yet to the point where, you have like the physical monetary results. Maybe you've learned a lot about money that's completely altering your mind is changing now to process how money actually is made, and you're looking at it differently. Maybe you've surrounded yourself with better people. Maybe you've learned leadership skills, right? Maybe you started believing in yourself again. That's why I love this business. Honestly, it really does instill belief into a lot of people. If you have results, if you have results, sorry, what you guys saying in chat was number 3? Oh, sorry, Kevin answered. Perfect. Yeah. So what happens is, right? If you have results, then you can share them. Of course, if you have results, share them. Why not? But if you're newer, that's okay too. You could say something like this. Since getting started, I've learned more about money than I ever did in school. I've surrounded myself with mentors who are living the life that I want. And every single day, I'm becoming a better version of myself. I think that sounds pretty good too. It sounds nice to be honest, to be like, oh, I just made 6 figures, or I just, did this, but that sounds pretty good too. Or maybe like, you could say something like, some of the people mentoring me are earning 6 figures while building businesses from their laptops and traveling the world. Being able to learn directly from them has completely changed the way that the way I think about what's possible. Remember, guys, growth is powerful. And people are attracted to progress, not perfection. No one cares about perfection. No one cares about someone being perfect. Okay? People are attracted to progress. And if they can see that, yes, since you joined the business, you have learned so much, you progressed so much, you've changed so much in a way that you are learning more, that's getting you closer to your goals. Even if you haven't achieved them yet, you are one step closer. That's growth. That's a lot that can change. That's a lot that's happened, right? Now, the last part, part number 4 is where you're going. Okay, because we're always going. We never stop. We pivot and we keep going, but we never stop. Even myself, even Matt, right? You think he stopped? Where is he going next? He's always talking about his next big move. And this is where you point the vision. And this is so important. People don't just want to know, where you've been. They want to know like where you're headed, right? Because confidence is contagious, right? Talk about the future that you're creating. Talk about, the impact that you want to make. Talk about the people that you want to help. For example, you could say something like, if you want to talk about like those things, you could say, my goal now is to build a global business that gives my family more freedom. It helps people create additional income, and it shows others that there are opportunities beyond what we are taught growing up. I'm looking for ambitious people who want to build something meaningful together. Maybe that's you. That's vision. That's vision. And notice how it also isn't pushy either. It's not pushy. I'm not pushing people, right? It's vision. And it isn't a sales pitch. It doesn't sound salesy. It's literally just, you know what it is? It's simply an invitation. Now, here's a challenge personally, like that I would want, like I would love every single one of you guys to do it. Is to literally take out your phone or your notebook or whatever you're using, and I want you to literally write down, like, after this whole call is done, right? I want you to write down a 2-minute story using these 4 parts. Now, you're not going to perfect it right away, because even me, I perfected my story over time, right? But I want you to write a story and think about really hard about like the main points, right? Don't drag it on. Just number 1, who were you before this business? Number 2, what was your struggle or what was missing in your life, right? Or sorry, that's who you were before. So who you before, right? What was the struggle? What was missing? What was, where were you at a certain part in your life? Number 2, right? What did you find? Okay, what caught your attention? Why did you decide to join RG, right? Why did you decide to join VIP? Why did you decide to join the communities, right? Why did you decide to join Iconic, right? What caught your attention? Number 3, what's happened since you joined? How have you grown? And number 4, where are you going? What's the vision that you're building toward? Once you've written it, I want you guys to time yourself, okay? Your goal is to tell your story, like I said, under 3-4 minutes, okay? And not because shorter is always better. It's just because clarity creates curiosity. Okay, that's literally all it is. And before we basically finish off with this, I just want to leave you guys one final tip, is that your voice matters just as much as your words. So you have to, again, just like how we talked about in the opening of a presentation, it's the same thing, when you're doing when you're telling your story, right? Your voice matters. So you gotta speak with certainty. You gotta stand tall. You gotta smile, because everything you say, like, your words hold so much power, and you have to believe every word that you're saying. Like, sometimes people will just say stuff just to say it, but I don't say stuff just to say it. I have so much conviction and belief in every single word, every single vowel that comes out of my mouth. And don't sound like, and this is really big, to be honest, and don't sound like you're asking people for permission either. Don't sound like you're trying to convince someone. I always say this, like, we're not in the convincing business. Our job is simply just to show people something, a vehicle that we know works, that can help someone make money, see success, and give them a little bit of a better life, help them make some extra money so they can do what it is that they want to do. That's it. You're not trying to convince someone. I don't need to convince anybody that this business is amazing and that you can see success and you can make money. I don't need to convince you. Because if I got to convince you that this business is going to be so good for you, and then you join the business, I got to convince you to hop on calls. I got to convince you to tap into trading sessions. I am not in the convincing business. I am not in the babysitting business. I'm trying to deal with little kids. I don't need to convince you. The product sells itself. The stuff and that's why storytelling is so important too. But I'm just saying, in general, everything sells itself. If you can just communicate things effectively, people will sell themselves. You don't even need to act like you're trying to convince someone, because everything will sell itself. You just gotta, you know what I want you guys to do? Share your story the way you tell a close friend about something that's genuinely changed your life. That's how I want you guys to think about it when you're telling your story. Your posture, it should communicate confidence. Your tone should communicate belief. And your energy, which is the main thing, your energy should say, this opportunity is changing lives, and I'm so excited to share with people who are open. And I love that, open. I never say, and you guys know, if you've been on calls with me, you know I hate the word interested. I don't like that word at all. I never say to anybody, oh, are you interested? I'm like, are you open? And because anybody can say, no, I'm not really interested. But who's going to say I'm not open? I'm like, oh, you're not open? No, I don't know. For me, I've never heard someone say I'm not open. But people can say I'm not interested all the time. So for me, I would say I'm open. So this opportunity is changing lives, and I'm excited to share with people who are open to seeing what's possible. I'm just going to leave you guys with this on this last part here before we get into one-on-ones, is facts tell, stories sell. But vision moves people. If you can master telling your story in like 3-4 minutes or less, you're going to stop feeling like you're chasing people. Because sometimes, you guys ever have that thing? Drop a 1 in the chat where you feel like you're chasing people constantly, like on calls. You gotta say the most, to be honest, to feel like you have to keep them there. Like, that's a big thing, is you don't want to chase people. Okay? Instead, if you just tell your story in a way that just captures someone in, like I said, 3-4 minutes or less, people are just going to become naturally curious. They're going to ask questions. They're going to want to know more, because every great movement, it starts the same way. One person shares a story, another person sees themselves in it, and then that's where everything begins. That's where everything begins. So if you guys understand, like, how to share your story, the concept of being able to break down your story in a way that can capture someone to their core and make them think, damn, I'm so inspired that I need to get a move on. Drop some 4s in the chat box if you guys understand that. Drop a 4 in the chat box if you guys are with me so far and you guys are understanding everything. How are you guys liking it so far? You guys liking Presenter School? You guys getting information? Drop a yes in the chat box if you guys are getting value. And this is gonna help you guys, with your speaking. Awesome, cool. Now the last part, and this is personally my favorite, and I feel like I've mastered, honestly, I'm trying to sound cocky, but I feel like I've mastered one-on-ones, like opening a one-on-one and getting to know someone to the T, okay? First thing I want to talk about, I'm going to talk about it a little bit though, because like I do use it, but in a different way. I'm sure some of you guys who are new maybe haven't heard it, but then some of you guys who have been in the business for a little while, you guys have already heard it. But first thing you want to do is, when you're on a one-on-one with someone, before anything, when you're edified and you start speaking, the first thing you want to do is tell me a little bit about yourself. That's what you want to ask. But people, what they'll do is they'll say, tell me a little bit about yourself. And they just let them say 1 or 2 things. And they're like, okay, cool. Now I'm going to tell you my story. And then we're going to get straight into it. Like, you don't know nothing about them. Like, I'm telling you guys right now, if I was to break down how I do a one-on-one, I would say personally, within like talking to them, like I'm talking like connecting with my prospect, connecting with my prospect and telling my story, that alone, and then again, this is just me, but it works. That alone takes me like a good like 15 minutes. Breaking down the products takes me like 10, maybe even less, like 8 minutes. And then I close them after that. Like, I just do the close or whatever. But the actual like talking to them, that's where I spend majority of my one-on-one is spent at. Sorry, this flies like my way. Majority of my one-on-one is spent connecting with a person. And especially if you're on a one-on-one with a person, because think about it, if you're on a one-on-one with a person that's like a warm market, someone that you know, like a friend or something, it's very different. You already know, you have the past with them, it's chill, you've talked to them before, okay. But you're on a one-on-one with a new person. Not only do you know nothing about this person, on top of that, there is no credibility because they don't trust you. They don't know you. Why would they trust you? They don't even know you. This is the first time you're connecting on a call with them. So you got to get them to trust you. You got to make them feel that they're comfortable enough to talk to you. And that's why for me, and I always say to people, like, for me, I don't treat network marketing like some corporate suited up business and I'm like super professional on my calls, because I'm not. If I've ever run an STP for you, you know I'm not super professional in my STPs in the sense that like I'm, there talking as if I'm like a I don't know, like a CEO. I talk super chill and super relatable. And that's what gravitates people, and that's why they're able to open up to me when I do my SCPs, when I run my one-on-ones. So first thing I ask them is I say, tell me a little bit about yourself. Because what I want to do is I want you guys to use this, but I'll tell you a few other tips and tricks I do as well. But obviously forming people is so important. So if you guys are new and you guys don't know what form is how to get to know people, right? So the first thing, it's an acronym. It stands for F is family, right? So you want to know a little bit about them, right? Do they have siblings, right? Do they live with mom and dad, or are their parents with them? Are they in a different country? Just a little bit about their family, right? That's the first thing, is form, family. O stands for occupation. And I'm gonna get more into this stuff, and then agree the questions that I ask that are super important. But always occupation, right? Do they work a job? What do they do for a living? Do they like what they do? Are they passionate about what they do? Are they doing it just because it makes them money, or are they doing it because they actually like what they do? Right? R stands for recreation. What do they like to do for fun outside of working their job that they may or may not like? What do they do for fun? Do they have any hobbies? Right? Do they work out? Or do they play sports? Are they into knitting? I don't know. Whatever. What do they like to do? And then last one is M, is you can say momentum, motivation, money, what drives them basically, right? M is like what's the thing that kind of drives them in life, right? What's that motivation? What's that thing that motivates them to be better, to want to do more, to want to get more out of life, right? Those are things you ask. Now, how do you ask those things? You don't ask right away. Okay, so my name is let's say I'm talking to Audrey, right? Oh, Audrey, hey, what motivates you in life? Like, what makes you want to be so successful? I'm not gonna ask her that. That's so weird. I literally just met her. Like, that's so weird. So one thing, guys, like I said, building that trust, making them laugh, connecting. Like I said, I spend more time doing that than actual breakdown itself. Why? Because what did I just say earlier? Facts tell, stories sell, right? So you're going to tell your story, but you're going to connect with them. And this is all before you get into the facts and the nitty gritty about Iconic and what we have to offer. You're just connecting with them. And one thing that I like to do in my opening, and I'm going to tell you guys right now, like, jot these questions down. And if you don't, and I'm going to have a lot of questions to run at you. So if you don't rewatch this recording and jot them down, because I'm telling you, you guys are going to want to know this. One thing I do in my opening is I try and get answers also to potential objections, so I'm not screwed over in the end of the call, right? So what do I do that? What do I say, right? What are the main objections that we get? We get money, time, and I need to think about it. So what do I do when I start a call? This is what I do. I'm just going to use Audrey as an example, okay? Because I see her right here. She got a camera on. I'm going to ask you, see her as an example, okay? If I'm going to call Audrey and she's a prospect, I'm going to say, hey, tell me a little bit about yourself, right? Now she tells me, oh, my name is Audrey. This many years old. I currently, work at, let's say she works at a daycare, right? I'll be like, okay, cool. Right? She's telling me she works at a daycare. I'll be like, nice. I'm going to be interrupting by every single time. I'm going to be asking questions. Oh, nice. Daycare. Okay, cool. Like, how long have you been doing that for? I want to know how long they've been doing it for. And I'll tell you why. Every single question has a specific, like, there's a reason I'm asking it. How long have you been doing that for? She'll be like, oh, I've been doing it for a lot of years, or maybe like I've been doing it for 2 years, let's say. I'll ask her, okay, cool. Like, do you like it? Like, is this something that like you're really passionate about, or do you kind of just do it as a money thing? And there's nothing wrong with asking that, especially if you ask in a chill way. If you just feel like you're having a connection with someone, like it's not even something that's weird to ask. Because sometimes people are like, oh, is that weird to ask? No, not at all. Are you doing it because you're passionate about it? Or is it just something that kind of, like pays the bills or whatever? Like, that's how I'll ask. Because I want to know, is she passionate about it? Because if she's not, then I can show the vehicle that I'm showing her can help her make money that she can use towards her passion, what it is. And if she tells me, for example, let's say Audrey says, oh, I am passionate about it. I'll be like, that's cool, that's awesome. So I'm just assuming you love kids then, right? Obviously and stuff like that. But like, oh nice, do you have any of your own? Depending on, let's say she tells me she's like, I don't know, like older or whatever. You can always say, do you have any own, or do you ever want to have kids of your own, whatever, just to ask things like that. Then after that, or let's say she tells me, I'll be like, okay, that's cool. But let's say she goes the other way. She says, no, I'm not really passionate about it too much, to be honest. I kind of just, just pays the bills right now. I'll ask her, I'll be like, oh, just out of curiosity, like, what are you passionate about? Like, if money wasn't an option, like, what would you be doing right now with your life? And she's gonna tell me, because if money was an option, she would be able to do what her passion is. So what's going to happen is all these things that I'm jotting down, that when I go through the presentation and I'm showing her, for example, a scanner, or I'm showing her results, I can say in the middle of the presentation, these are things that, oh yeah, if you actually get this, you'll be able to see results like this, which should actually help you work towards your passion, and you can work less hours at your daycare until you can eventually use this business to fund your passion and be able to do it full time. Like, I'm going to say those things because that's things I'm jotting down, right? So anyway, she continues, she tells me, okay, cool. And then I'll be like, and then I ask her, right? So just out of curiosity, like, are your job, is it part-time, is it full-time? Like, are you, like, how many hours a week do you roughly work? Why am I asking that? Right? For two reasons. Number one, if she works part-time, she's making less money. Okay? If she works full-time, she's making more money. Also, if she's working full-time, it means less time, right, to maybe put into the business or other things. If she's working part-time, it means she has more hours available in her day. So that's because that's the time commitment, right? I don't never want to hear anybody tell me I don't have time. Because if you tell me I'm basically gonna, what about two jobs? Okay, even if someone says they work two jobs, I'll be like, cool. What do you do for work? You ask them what the two jobs are. Same thing. Are you passionate about it? Or they say long hours. I'll be like, how many hours precisely? And what does your typical schedule look like? Because if Audrey's telling me I work, for example, let's say at a daycare, right? And she goes, I work full time. I say, okay, what do those full time hours look like? She might say, oh, like, 8 to 3 or whatever. I'll be like, cool. Is that every single day? Or just, a few times a week? Like, how often is it? She might tell me, oh, it's Monday to Friday. I said, is that consistent, or does your schedule change throughout the week? Like, is it, maybe a 9 to 5, 8 to 2? Like, does it change, or is it always consistently every single week the same? I want to know that, because at the end, I'm also going to tell them how it can work in their schedule, right? So if someone tells me two jobs, same thing. When do you work those jobs, right? Like, when is your schedule? Is it consistent, or is it sporadic? Do you have the same shifts every week, or are they different, right? They say they work long hours, because that's the nice thing about trading, is you can do it in the morning, you can do it in the evening, you can do it in the middle of the day, you can do it literally at the middle of the night. So at the end of the day, like, people can always make things work if they want to, right? So that's what I asked. So I asked them about, like, I guess, the job. I want to know that. Okay. Then I asked them, like, cool, just out of curiosity, like, let's say I'm talking to Audrey, but curiosity, do you live at home with your parents, or are you just kind of living on your own right now? They're like, oh no, I live with my parents. Okay, well, what am I thinking? If they're living with their parents, chances are they're probably not paying rent, because most people that live with their parents, I'm not saying everyone, because again, you don't know, you can only predict as best you can. But chances are someone is living with their parents, they're probably not paying rent, right? Mostly the parents are probably covering it, whatever. Okay, cool. Let's say they also say they go to school. I'll be like, nice. Is your school like close by or something? Or do you kind of like I'm always asking questions. This is why I tell you it takes me 15 minutes, but I don't care. I want to know everything. I want to know everything. I'm grilling this person. Okay. So she tells me, oh, I go to school as well. I'm like, okay, cool. Like, what are you studying in school? And then again, same thing as the job. Is that something you're passionate about? Or like, yeah, because some people might be like, I'm studying law. My parents kind of just told me to do it. Okay, cool. So you're not really passionate about it? Not really. All right, okay. If they are, be like, nice. Like, what do you plan to do after that? And then you kind of talk a little bit about that. Right now, if she's telling me, I go to school, whatever. What am I gonna ask her? Okay, cool. Is school close by? Like, do you walk? Is it like walking distance, or do you like commute, or do you drive, or what do you do? Well, she tells me, the reason I'm asking that, why? Because if she's telling me she's commuting, spending money on Ubers, or spending money on TTC or train or whatever. If she tells me, oh, I have a car, she's probably insurance, gas. Maybe she's even financing the car. Who knows, right? So these are all things I'm jotting in my head, because it's like, she's paying for this, she's paying for this. So I'm thinking, because I need to make sure she has money to do this business, right? Because we don't want to sign people up for them to 1 month. So them to scramble up some type of money, and then after that 1 month leave because they don't have it anymore. I want people that can actually consistently be able to do it and have money to do it, right? We don't want to just sign people up just to sign people up. It makes no sense. But I want to know these things. So I'm asking her, right? Well, again, service school. She tells me, oh yeah, car, whatever, this and that. I'll be like, nice, cool. And then after that, once she's telling me about this and she's telling me about that, the next thing I'm going to ask, because again, time, that we basically handle the money objection. If you know someone's working a job, but you got to figure out kind of like what they're doing, I'll also ask another thing. Do you also, just out of curiosity, after you finish working, let's say, after you finish your two jobs, right? When you do your two jobs, you finish working, what else is left in the day for you? Do you, for example, like, do you have any hobbies? Do you go to the gym? They say, yeah, I go to the gym. Cool. That's another thing in my mind. Gym membership. They're paying for that. All right. Do you have any other hobbies? Oh, yeah, I play professional league. I don't know, football, volleyball. Okay, cool. Like, is that like a just like a community center thing where you can kind of just check in and play, or is it like an actual league where you have to like pay for it and stuff? Oh no, it's a league. I gotta pay for it and stuff. Oh, okay, cool. I'm jotting that down. They're paying for a league. Like that's everything, where their money's going, right? Or they say, I'm like, cool. Then let's say she works Monday to Friday. I'm like, okay, just out of curiosity, what do you do on your weekends? Like, obviously, I know you work Monday to Friday. So what do you do on your weekends? And also, like, what do you do after? Like, what does your typical day look like after you come back from work? Right? Because she might tell me, oh, I might have this and this and that, or I got to do this or whatever. And basically, the reason I'm asking that is because if someone tells me at the end, oh, I don't have time, I show them where they have time. You told me you go to work from 8 to 3. You said you come home and then you go to the gym. And then there's about 5. I asked them too. I literally will ask people, like, when do you go to sleep usually? Like around like 10 o'clock. So if someone tells me they don't have time, I'll be like, well, you said you go to work here. And you said that, you go to the gym. And then you said you probably come wind down around 7. So from 7 to 10, what are you doing? Because don't you think you can use that time to basically work on the business to get you closer to your goals, the things that you said you wanted to do, right? To get you to that $5,000 a month mark that you said you wanted to get to? They have that hour 7 to 10, but we don't ask the right questions. That's why at the end, when someone says that to you, you're screwed because you didn't ask the right questions. So you can't just try and come up with it at the end and be like, oh, because you don't know, you didn't ask the right questions. I'm asking all these questions in the beginning. And then again, for time, like I want to know, for example, what do you do on the weekends? If someone says, oh, like, I kind of just chill out, perfect. They have 2 full days that they can literally focus on the business. Okay. Like learning it and building it or doing whatever. Now, I need to think about it is not something that you can answer ahead of time because people, once they see it, then they'll be like, I need to think about it. That's something that, you deal with later. But money and time can always be handled in the beginning. And those are the questions you got to ask people in the beginning. Those are the questions you got to know. And then there's nothing wrong with saying this, just to know. Well, you know what? Honestly, Audrey, we're talking about money here, right? And you obviously joined this call because you want to learn how to make some extra money. But I just want to be upfront and honest with you, right? It's investing. It takes money to make money. So are you in a position, for example, where you can put a little bit aside to help yourself move towards your financial goals? Because I know obviously I know you told me you go to the gym and you said you got a car, so I know you got car, maybe you got like insurance and all this stuff paid for. And I know you said you're living on your own, so you probably got rent. So I just want to be able to know that you have the opportunity to be able to make money. Because I'm so honest with people. I'll be like, I don't want to get you involved. For example, you're not really be able to see the success because you don't have that money, right? So personally, I'm just asking you, right? Because it takes money to make money. It's investing. Do you feel like you're in a position where you can put a little bit of money towards helping you get to your future goals? And then they'll be like, yeah, for sure. Okay, cool. You're done now. So you handle both, right? And now the next 2 questions that I ask, and this is so important, is where do you see yourself 5 years from now, right? Where do you see yourself 5 years from now? Like, what are you looking to achieve? You want to bring up and this is why you ask this, because you bring up their goals throughout the presentation. Throughout the presentation, you're going to bring up their goals throughout it. You can say things like, oh, I know you said you want to really retire your mom because she helped you out so much, and this is going to help you get closer to that goal. Or ask them, for example, even like, how much income would they like to have in the next 5 years, right? And be like, on your current path, this is what I love asking, how much income do you want to make in the next 5 years? Do you want to make? Okay, because they'll give you a number they want to make. And I'll be like, based on the current path also that you're currently doing, what could you be making in 5 years based on your current path? Because they might say they want to make 10 grand a month, for example, but in the current path, the current job they're doing, in 5 years from now, they're not hitting $10,000 a month. But you can show them how $10,000 a month can be made in this business in the next 5 years if they take this vehicle seriously. If they know at their job they're not chasing $10,000 a month, they're not going to get there. But you can show them how you can get it through the business, and that's so important. That's why you ask these questions, right? And the last thing that I like to ask, like after I asked that, to be honest, or I guess it was basically what I said, basically, have you invested before, right? So it takes money to make money, right? Then we talked about where you see yourself 5 years from now. And then the last thing I'll say is this. I'll be like, and just out of curiosity, right? Have you ever invested before? Like, have you ever done any type of investing? Because you want to know, are they experienced? Have they done it before? Because sometimes if you don't ask that question, they might have already been investing before a little bit. And maybe they had a horrible experience, or maybe they got scammed, because we get scammed sometimes. Like, this is the world we live in. Honestly, there's scams everywhere. Maybe they got scammed and you don't know about these things because you're not asking. So at the end, they might feel like that same pressure. They might feel like they might get scammed. And that's why they tell you no. And that's why they tell you, I need to think about it. But it's because they got scammed and they're so scared, to go through the same process again. But you didn't ask the right question in the beginning, so you wouldn't know that. So I ask, have you ever invested before? Oh, and if they say, no, I haven't, I'll be like, okay, cool. Well, I'm definitely excited to show you what it can do for your life, right? If they say, yeah, I have, nice. How did it go? And by any chance, what did you invest in? How did you learn how to invest in? What did you invest in? Oh, I did stocks and crypto. Cool. How did you learn to get into it? Was it like through YouTube? Were you a part of a course, an academy? Oh, I did it through YouTube. Or, oh, I was part of an academy or course. Oh, cool. What kind of course was it? Like, how did it operate? Because maybe it was something like ours, but we all know in a business like ours, you can have the best program ever, the best everything. But if you have shitty mentorship, you're not going to see results. And maybe they were part of a program that had a really bad mentor, right? But here, for example, they could have great mentorship and actually see success. But you didn't know that because you didn't ask the questions. So that's why you got to ask, have you ever invested before? You need to know their experience in the space. And then from there, you say, you know what? Honestly, like I'm so excited to show you what we have. I think based on everything that you told me, we can really help you here. And this can be the vehicle that can absolutely get you to your goals and change your life. Now, before I do, I would love to tell you a little bit about me since I know it's our first time on a call. I would love to for you to know a little bit about me and my story and how long I've been in this space. Just a bit about myself, if that's cool with you. And then she can be like, yeah, that's cool. I share my story real quick. And then I'll be like, now, without further ado, let's get into it. And then we go into, what Ace is going to be talking about next. Okay, so do you guys understand? If you guys understand everything that I talked about, I'm basically done for my part here, which is perfect. Literally 56 minutes. If you guys understood everything, drop sevens in the chat box. If you guys understood everything I talked about, drop some sevens in the chat box. I want to just end off by saying this. Closing someone is very important to know how to close someone. It is very important to know how to be able to present the information to someone because you can't present it wrong. But the thing is, you need to be able to connect with someone because no one will care at all what you have to say about the business, about the opportunity you have, about how much money people make. No one will care if you don't connect with them. If I'm asking all these questions and I'm like, for example, like I'll even throw jokes in there sometimes, or like I'll laugh, or like I'll be like, oh my gosh, me too. Like I could totally relate. Like this one girl, one time I had a SCP. And she was like, "Oh yeah, like I was, serving, and oh, like I just had to leave. My boss was so rude." I was like, "Yeah, I know. I used to serve as for Chalet. Honestly, my boss was an absolute. Oh, I don't even want to talk about it, but no, I know it completely changes the dynamic of an environment, and I know how important it is to be part of a space where you feel you can grow. And you probably didn't feel like that, right? No, I can relate with you totally. So it's like things like that is very, very important. So that's why you have to ask the right questions. You have to take your time with it. People rush that process, and because they don't build that connection, imagine like you're talking to a new person. Like imagine right now you guys were all prospects, okay, and you didn't even know me. Like you never even knew I existed, and all of a sudden I'm a random person coming on a call to talk to you to pitch you a business so you can basically invest in it and pay a subscription, a monthly fee to get it started. And you don't and you're probably thinking, well, she doesn't even care to get to know me. She just wants my business. She just wants my money. That's how a lot of people like the prospect will seem if you don't actually get to know them because they're thinking you don't care about them. And it's true. Because if you don't actually get to know the person, why do you care about them? This is not someone you potentially want in your business, that you want to work with, that you want to be able to help guide them to their financial goals. So you got to get to know them. And it's important that you know them because if you don't get to know them, you're not going to be able to find the pressure points and find like their pain points and use those during the actual presentation to be able to show them how it's the vehicle that can 100% get them if they're taking it seriously. So that's everything on my part. If you guys got some value, first of all, do you guys have any questions? Because I have like 2 minutes left. Do you guys have any questions for me at all about anything that I went over? If you have questions, drop it in the chat. If you don't have questions and you guys got value, drop some threes in the chat box. Amazing, amazing. Okay, perfect. So now what I'm going to do, guys, is I'm going to... Amazing. Let me just move this chat box out of the way. Okay, so what I'm going to do next is I'm going to bring up the next speaker. Okay, guys, this is an individual that has literally started in the industry 5 years ago, like pandemic times. Like this was literally during COVID. He's 19 years old, super young when he started into this business. And he's someone that is just so passionate about helping the next generation really create financial freedom for themselves. Like this guy will literally do whatever he can, whenever he can for his team to make sure that they're seeing the results, they're dialed in, they're plugged in, whether it's getting on calls with them late at night, whether it's, doing whatever he needs to do to make sure that they're constantly growing. He will do it all. And this guy has literally spoken in front of thousands of people. So he has like all the experience to come in here and teach you guys exactly how to, number one, public speak. He's going to be going into public speaking tips, teaching you guys exactly how to public speak, but also going into exactly how to convey the information properly to a prospect that will get them hooked and want to join the business. Okay. So this is someone who is like the perfect person to really dive in and show you everything. So I'm super excited to let him take it away. If you guys, I want you guys dialed in just as much as you guys were dialed into me. You need to be just as much dialed into him, especially if you're someone who doesn't know the information with Iconic. You guys got to be taking notes, recording, watching it all over again. So without further ado, I'm going to bring up Ace. Ace, take it away.
Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. I just want to say that first hour, you guys, was straight fire, straight gems of everything you guys needed to really pre-do literally everything. If you guys can drop some flames back in the chat for the sister Mel out there. I've been here to do a few trainings like the last couple of months, but I wouldn't say every time she comes on stage, every time she comes on a Zoom, she never ever disappoints. And I just can't wait to see what she does these next 90 days, this next year as well too, you guys. So it's definitely blessings well too. So those who do not know me, as well. My name is Ace, 24 years old as well too, out here in Seattle, Washington. And going off of from Mel's point of view, right, a more pre-surfacing a meeting, more of knowing your individual on a one-on-one as well too. I'm going to straight more dive into the one-on-one part of the presentation. Okay. So everything that I'm about to show you guys and everything that she talked about is very, very, very important. From having more of like their current situation, more of like their goals, more of their pain points, more of like why they're not able to grow and more their commitment. You're going to use literally everything that they told you in all that 15 minutes, 20 minutes of questions throughout the rest of the presentation. Okay. If they said they didn't have time, you're going to use that. If they said that they're really scared of systems, they're going to use that. If maybe they tried trading before, but it didn't work out, they didn't have the right education, they didn't have the right mentor. Any pain point that they gave you, you're going to keep bringing it up through the rest of the presentation. Let's say they wanted to be able to pay off their mom's mortgage. They want to be able to pay off college debt. Let's say if they're already in debt, whatever that is for them, I'm going to say it a third time. You're going to use that the rest of the presentation. And the reason why I say this is because when I actually present a one-on-one to a person, if no matter if they're 19, no matter if they're 55, I don't always present it the same way. Why? A person that's 19 doesn't have the same problems, issues as someone that is 55. Someone that might be 30-year-old married with kids, they don't have a lot of time as someone that might be 18, 19 years old that just got into college. Does that make sense? So when I get into basically presenting the plan, right? The first thing I do of like doing the one-on-one, right? I'm gonna share my screen for you guys really, really, really quickly. I'm gonna give you guys different examples of how you guys can present on one-on-one because it does depend on all of the questions that they were being asked in the very, 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 very beginning. Okay. So if you guys are ready for this presentation, right? Put ready in the chat for me. Fire. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Let's run, let's run, let's run. So when I'm getting to a presentation, right? Let's say someone they said in the beginning, like, hey, I need to know every single step. I need to know what the platform is, and they're very, very analytical. And let's say like they're more no experience at all. Okay. When someone gets into trading because it's dealing with money and finances, they don't want to come into a community, an industry, a team if they don't know how to understand the basics. Yes, you can make 5 figures, 6 figures, 7 figures in trading, but the thing is, you have to put yourself in their shoes. They maybe have never traded ever before. They might not know what imbalance is. They might not know what a candlestick is or what smart money is or what DeFi and all these different things are in the trading world because it's completely new. Every time someone tells like, hey, Ace, I don't know nothing about trading, I always come to here first. I say, hey, for example, you might not even know what trading is. This is exactly where you start in the platform. Like, hey, you told me from the very beginning, you don't know what trading is. Can we both agree that if you're going to put money into it, wouldn't you know exactly what you're getting into first? They're always going to say yes. You're never going to put your money somewhere that you don't know what you're doing with it. So I say, hey, this is going to tell you what trading actually is, how to buy, how to sell, how to actually get into trading, how to invest, what a pip is. All of the questions that you have that some people like go on YouTube. I say this on purpose because they might be going on YouTube. They might be on ChatGPT. They might be on Wikipedia. All these different things that they've seen on the outside world, they are coming to us because we have the solution to all of their problems. So I say, hey, boom, this is everything you're going to be needing. Because let's say, for example, all the greats, let's say if you had Grant Cardone, let's say if you had Robert Kiyosaki, let's say if you had Mike Tyson, and they knew all the knowledge, but imagine you didn't have just a basic understanding to be mentored and be taught. It would just be worthless. So now say you're in a room with 6-figure, 7-figure traders, you actually know what they're talking about, so you're actually able to grow. What that does, it gives them confidence. They don't feel like, hey, this is something that I can't learn. And maybe they weren't good at math, maybe they weren't good in school. But if you're now able to resemble the basics of trading and bring it to the front at the very, very beginning of the presentation, okay, cool. I can actually understand what this is, having no knowledge at all. That's why that's such an important thing. The next thing I go over is going to be the live streams. Okay. So person to person, let's say they told you that they're more free in the evening. Maybe so they're more free in the morning time. Maybe they're more free in the nighttime. It's very important. It's like, hey, what was their actual schedule that like Mel's question was about going on? Let's say they're more free at nighttime. Like, hey, for example, this is why it's such an important thing to be a part of the product. Okay? Because you should not be wanting to tell people about it if you don't at least know the basics. You should know a little about the educators. You should know a little about the scanner. You should know about the platform, how long it's been here for, why you like it, how you can have different stories. And the thing about everything that I'm about to tell you guys, you don't want to just go boom, 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 boom. You want to join? You want to be able to pause. Hey, Sam, does that make sense? Hey, are you understanding this? Do you have any questions so far? Because of, let's say they had a hesitation from the first 15 minutes and you kept going, they're going to stop on that first 15 minutes and not understand the rest of the presentation. Does that make sense? Put a yes in the chat if it does. So I get into here. I say, like, hey, for example, you want to get into trading and how to invest and how to actually make another source of income or whatever their goal is. You want to know how to basically be able to pay off your mom's debt, pay for tuition, da da da, da etc. Right? For example, so as of right here, right? All the educators that we have within our platform, they are completely licensed. Why I say that to you is because there's a lot of people you might see on YouTube, people that you might see in different platforms, different communities. How would you feel if a person just came on a live stream and they're teaching you trading if they're not licensed? Instead, here, everyone is actually being licensed and they're actually being audited. Because now, since they're being audited, if they're not performing at a high level, they're not going to be on the platform. What that does, it gives them confidence, but also it makes you different than that other team, than the other company. So say here, what they're actually going to be doing is live trading and also live training. So here, for example, you're just getting into trading. Maybe you're not profitable, you're not consistent, whatever that their problem was within coming into trading, they're actually going to trade with you. What that means is, let's say if Andre Tyson calls it a trade, you're going to take the trade. He is a multi, you might want to say incomes, but he's a level earner. I'll put it that way for on recording. But say, for example, he takes a trade, you take a trade. If he wins a certain percentage, you win a certain percentage. But the second thing is they're also doing live training. For example, you don't want to be at your job, your business, whatever that pain point is, again, bring that up again, because you're not dependent on somebody else. With this live training, you're actually being able to go from a dependent trader now to an independent trader. As of right now, Andre Tyson might be going live, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at 5 p.m. He actually has his own boot camp, and I'll show them. Sometimes I'll even play like a couple, like maybe like a minute or two about just like his boot camp. So like, hey, he's made a lot of income trading. He actually has his own boot camp that you can study, you can watch as many times as you want. And the thing is, they keep updating more information. So no matter if this was a boot camp from 3 months ago, 6 months ago, you're going to keep having more and more real information. So let's say now when he's on his live sessions, you hop on and he's explaining how he trades. He's giving you different trade steps to actually be taking. You're not just taking it, but you're actually knowing why you're taking that setup. And they're like, okay, cool, that makes sense. And you ask them like, hey, does that make sense? Do you actually feel like being able to learn this from this live stream does actually help you get to your goal? Now they're saying yes. You want them to say yes as many times as possible till when Shauna gets to the very end, they are going to be in a yes flow already from the first 20 minutes of the presentation. Okay? Does that make sense to you guys? Put a 7 in the chat. That makes sense. Perfect. All right. So next thing I show this very specifically. What is it at? I think it's this one actually. Because some people they might want to see actual results. Okay, boom. Everyone can talk a good game, but when you actually can show what the actual platform, what the community is doing, it makes a big difference. I can say, hey, for example, these are the trades that we called out the last couple of months. Right now, do we win everything? No, but we win a lot more than we lose. Right now, we have 310 winning ideas and about 115 losing. That's about a 75% accuracy of winning. When I tell you guys your average trader might win 20 to 30%, we're actually doing 75%. And the thing is, you can show them the track record of what we're actually doing from the educators. And you're going to leverage that because now you're leveraging that it's not only you. It's like, hey, for example, Adam, he called it a trade. Delphine's calling out trades and they're hitting TPs. They're actually helping people actually make profits. They're like, okay, cool. People are actually winning. People are actually being successful. Now, for example, you don't want to just be, for example, let's say they want to actually learn trading. They want to learn the skill set. But maybe seeing things like smart money concept and things like that, maybe that's just not their drive. Maybe that's just not their drift. Hey, Billy, Sam, whatever their name is, that is perfectly okay. The best thing that I love of all is having strategies. And this is why I asked them, how would you feel, for example, like I've been trading for 5 years personally, right? You might be on your day one, your 3 months, 6 months, whatever it is for them. How would you feel if you had a 6-figure, 7-figure professional trader giving you the glasses on the markets to see exactly how the way they do? How would you feel about that? They're gonna be like, yo, I can see like a 7-figure trader. What I gotta do? How does this stuff work? How do you just come with this? So you actually can say like, hey, there's React, there's Bullseye, there's DeFi, there's SmartShot, whatever that you know best, okay? Because they're probably gonna ask you questions like, how does this stuff work? That you actually can bring up facts. That's why it's very, very, very important to be a product of the product. And then I'll show them like, hey, for example, You're able to have a 1, 2, 3, 4 step, literally a whole entire boot camp of how to use this selected strategy. So let's say, for example, it was maybe like an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours long of this video, right? About the next couple of days, you can now be able to perform and be able to master this strategy, right? So I'm like, okay, cool, this makes sense. And if you have a high like quality like potential members coming into the platform, I will literally go on TradingView and I will show them the scanner. I'm so serious. Because the thing is, especially if it's a new person that's not too they haven't really had a lot of experience trading or been successful trading. You want to show them that trading is so simple. And then now I'll literally tell them like, hey, this is how you use DeFi. When you have a scorecard and it's red, it tells you to sell. If it's blue, it tells you to buy at the market. This is the stop loss. This is your entry. This is your take profits. And even if let's say I have like enough time as well too, I'll go on my trade locker on my computer while I'm sharing my screen, and I'll actually show them how to place the trade. When you can show them how to take a trade, and let's say it takes what, 30 seconds for most of us, maybe like 45 seconds to take a trade, and they're like, yo, now you can go like, hey, they said they didn't have a lot of time. Yo, you can be able to get on DeFi while you're at work, while you're with the kids, while you're watching TV with your wife or your husband. You can have your computer up, you can have your phone up, it calls it a trade, boom, and now you're good. You literally can show them how simple trading is, because now all the questions that you asked in the very beginning that Mel was talking about, you're now going to be able to use that again. They didn't have a lot of time. Well, hey, you don't need a lot of time. You don't need to go over to study the markets for the next 6 months, next 2 years. It does the work for you. Hey, like Ace, I don't know how to be able to trade. I want to be able to how to call out snipes. Like I've been seeing you guys all the times. You have literally the product, but you have to connect every product that we have within Iconic to all the questions you asked in the very beginning. Okay? Very key. So let's say, for example, I'm pretty sure every team that we have here has their own like Telegram chats. I know a lot of you guys use the Circle app or like use like Telegram as well too. People love seeing community. They love seeing people working together, actually like, grinding together, having success together. Same with like having fun. Let's say if you guys are having trade nights and stuff like that as well too, show them stuff at trade nights. I will really go through like our Telegram chat and I'll say, hey, this is the community of everyone that's been here in the chat. People are joining every single day. I'm like, hey, like this is for example, this is like in the Bay Area. There's really an in-person trade night teaching people how to trade. We're not just whatever your city is, but we're all around the country. We're all around the world because we want to impact as many people as possible. And literally just show them stuff like that. I'll show them like our trade updates. I know a lot of you guys have like a trade updates chat as well too. I'll show them like our calls. I know you guys have this as well too. And this is really important because when like we're posting flyers and stuff like that, it looks really professional. Especially if you're talking to more of like a mature person that's more like, let's say like 25-ish or older, more in that range, more 30 and older. They like seeing things that are organized, things that are very repetitive in their system. Because let's say if you are, you have kids, a family, and stuff like that as well too, you want to be able to plug it into your schedule, make sure it's easily accessible. So people can see that the same things are happening over and over again at the same time, same places. It looks really good to them because they don't have to think about what they're doing every single day. I'll go over personal development, go over just like building like the mindset as well as to what they're actually wanting to get into. I'll do like the recordings and then affiliate chat. I'll tell you guys how I actually bring that up in about the next like 5 minutes as well too. And then I will show results. I don't personally show like when I'm showing results to you guys, the way I explain is like, hey, I'm not really money motivated personally, but I want to show you that this is working for other people. Some people have been here for the last week, last month, a couple of years as well too. So it's worked for them, and we've helped hundreds and thousands of people. We can help you as well. You're no different. We have people just like in your shoes. Let's say if they said that they were like at work, let's say like they're in school, let's say they have a family, they have kids. You now can leverage that from the questions you had at the very beginning. We have so and so. Let's say like Skylar. Let's say like they're in the Bay Area. Let's say like they're a driver. Let's say they're in school. I'm like, yo, this person so and so is literally just going to school. He's just like you. Whatever, like their identity, don't lie, of course, be genuine, of course. But you can compare it to what they were going through at this current situation and what someone in the community is going through. When someone's able to relate to a person that is not just you, but people in the community, they are going to resemble and going to be more drawn to what is actually going on. Okay? That is the biggest key thing. And really, this part that you're showing them, like the first part that Mel was talking about, again, like 15 minutes, you're going really deep into everything. When you're showing a lot of this really should take like 5 to 10 minutes. Because the thing is, you already know all the problems. You're more just making sure that they understand what's being shown to them, how everything is working, and like how to basically bring it back to them as well too. Okay? This makes sense so far. Put a one in the chat for me. Fire. And the one thing too, I know it's coming. It's not like out officially yet. If let's say they don't have like a lot of time when we have the auto, I would show the auto. Like when we have the what's it called? What's the app called? Like Omni? Like I would show them like how Omni works. I'll show them how IQ Sync works. Now that we're having like this whole update and I'm telling you guys I'm super excited about it, show them when it's out how basically the auto is working. Show them how it's actually performing. Show it how simple to where you can be like hands off. Let's say if they're a truck driver, let's say they work warehouse, they can't be on their phone a lot, they have kids, they have family. Like, yo, imagine you did not have to press a button, you're able to make no source of income. They're gonna be like, yo, I'm gonna press anything? No, you don't gotta press anything. Now it gives them that basically like it brings their guard down even more to like, yo, I want to be a part of this. And even at this point, again, I'm like, hey, from everything you've seen so far, like, does this make sense? Yes, yes, this makes sense. Do you have any questions? Don't have any questions. And you want to make sure their camera is on. Okay. The reason why I want to make sure their camera is on is because let's say they're not saying anything, you want to see when they have like a little head tilt. You want to see when they're like get a little shaky and things like that because maybe they're not saying anything. You can be like, hey, yo, Phil, when I said this part about this presentation, I think you got a little hesitant, you got a little off. What was that about? Because the thing is, again, if you do not address it and you miss it, they'll have that objection for so long, and the rest of the things that you're saying about it, it'll just go in one ear, not the other. So you definitely make sure their camera is on in a good place throughout the whole entire presentation. So this is more like how I present the plan on this side. And then I'll ask them, like before I show them like the price or like I tell them the price, I'll ask them like, hey, for example, like what have you kind of seen people charging? I know people are charging thousands and thousands of dollars. Like this information you're seeing, like people are charging 5,000. Like I personally know people are charging like 10,000 like an hour to get into trading. And they're gonna be like 10,000 an hour? Like, bro, like when I tell you you're connected to literally multi six-figure and seven-figure earners, you have this product, you have the Zex system to get you to whatever their goal was. If it was pay off the tuition, pay off the mortgage, help their family, help retire their parents, wherever that goal is, keep bringing that up over and over and over again because all they're going to be seeing throughout the whole presentation is the problem they have, their current situation. They're going to see their goal. In the middle, they're going to see that we are the solution. That is the best part and the beautiful thing about everything. And I was like, hey, for example, right? If you want to get into like, I guess this is more going to be like Sean's part. He's been more talking about the closing. So I'll actually let him talk about this part as well too. And I'm gonna more break down phase two. So for you guys as well too, if this first phase of doing like a one-on-one presentation, actually showing the platform why you're doing it, connecting it from their questions, and now actually showing the platform, that makes sense. Put a yes in the chat. And then what we're actually gonna do, you guys, we're actually gonna move to going from like a Zoom call or like a one-on-one call. And we're actually gonna move to how you actually can present in person or present actually in an event. Because this is the best thing you guys should be doing. When we're actually doing events, it's like, hey, have a home event, have a venue. It doesn't matter if you're going to be at a coffee shop. It doesn't matter if you're at Panera. It doesn't matter if you're at your house, at a library. The thing we should be doing is being able to show a plan. Okay? Show the plan, show the plan, show the plan as much as possible. The more times you show the plan, the more people that are going to be able to say yes, the bigger your business grows. The bigger your business grows, now you have more leaders that are actually on your team, ideally in your city, in your state as well too, because now you can leverage them at different points in time. Okay? So when you actually get into, let's say, presenting the actual platform, we get in here. Not this one. I need this one. Fire. Okay, bad. All right. So when you're presenting, there we go. Okay, bad. So when you're presenting an event, ideally, if you can have two people minimal, that is enough that you need. If you can have three people, that's really a lot better, just being completely honest. So when you're opening up the event, I know like Mel talked about more like the opener, bringing the energy, bringing the excitement, more explaining everything that they're actually going to be listening about and going over. That is very, very key. Because now when the second person comes in, let's say the next person comes in, if you have three people, that's good. If you only have two people, then you're going to be this person that's like more explaining more of the problems in the world. Okay. So let's say here. So what I have in this slide, I'll send you guys this slide after I'm done speaking as well. But when you are going to pre-surface, let's say the meeting, what you want to do is address all the problems that they're seeing in the world. When people are saying like, hey, this is what I'm going through, this is speaking to me personally, You guys might have heard like on stages, on Zoom calls, on whatever, like on conventions and things like that as well too. When someone gets on stage and you're able to resemble what they're going through, what they're saying, you automatically listen a lot more because in your head you're like, hey, this is exactly what I'm actually going through. This is exactly what's happening in my life. Hey, they might have something that I can listen to give me the answer. I should start listening. That is the best thing of all. So in the very beginning of like when your presentation, you want to have resemblance of what's going on and hitting majority of the world. You talk like, hey, a lot of you guys are seeing it right now within, maybe your job, other jobs online. A lot of the world is upgrading and evolving. Before, for example, it was more of a factory work. More people were just more of going in person, doing things like that. Now we're having AI and automation being able to take over the entire world. Like, how would you feel, for example, if you're a doctor and the next 4 or 5 years, you're going to be seeing a robot? How would you feel, like, instead of having a truck driver, you might see someone that's driving a truck and it's just a robot or an AI? Computer science. A lot of people are having computer science jobs or degrees, and they're not able to get a job because they're just having AI robots. Like the thing is with this first slide is you want to explain like, hey, if you do not do anything different, you are going to be in a financial debt and a financial drought to where you're going to be like not a doom to your family, but to where you and your family are in a financial danger. The second part is has inflation, right? Let's say it again. If you do not make a change, you guys, everything in the world is growing, but it feels like your income isn't. Right now, we're seeing groceries is up, gas is up. Like I'm in Seattle, I'm like, yo, the gas is out here is like $6. That is the biggest thing because when you get resemblance, like in your cities, you live in Texas, you live in Memphis, you're in Canada, you're in California, wherever. Give more of what people are actually seeing around them. They're seeing the gas prices, they're seeing the grocery bills go up, they're seeing their rent go up. All the things that are seeing it because now they're like, yo, like, bro, that's real. And then like me when I'm speaking, I'm very, very engaging. You guys probably seen from the Zoom. I'm like, yo, bro, are you seeing gas prices go up? I'm like, yes, bro. I'm like, bro, I'm at Costco and it's still $6. Like you're giving that more of like a conversation. So instead of it feeling like a presentation, it's more like a demonstration. That's the biggest part about this. And the third part is like, hey, people are living paycheck to paycheck. They want to have another business, another source of income, wanting a way out. But the problem is they just don't know how to get there. They don't know actually where to go. And what you can now talk about is what we call is like the generational wealth triangle. So when I'm actually pre-surfacing what the wealth triangle is, I've seen so many different systems, so many ways to actually have wealth for families, but this is the best system of all that I've actually ever seen. We're speaking about these three about trading, investing, residual income. You don't go too deep into it because you're going to go talk about it within the next 5, 10 minutes, or the third speaker or second speaker will talk about that as well too. So I'll talk about trading, like, hey, what is actual trading? Like, for example, like the banks are already trading your money and they're giving you 1, 2, 3, 4% back, and they're trading and making millions and millions of dollars off of your own income. How would you feel instead if you're able to actually make your own money and instead of them making all the millions, now you're actually making all the millions? And the best thing about it is, no matter what is going on, money is still being printed, but it's not being printed in your bank account. We all know in this room, I'll say that in the class, that's not fair. We want to be able to help you guys have the systems around you actually generating more income. Doesn't matter how much time you have, doesn't matter how much money you have, whatever that thing is for them, you're like, hey, this is your solution. Now, most people do when they actually have trading. You're not going to make $100,000 a day trading and go spend it on Gucci, go spend it on Dior, right? What they do? They don't buy a bunch of liabilities. They have actual assets. What you're actually wanting to do is now use money you're actually trading and put that into your investing account. And then you can talk about, let's say, like dollar cost average. Like, hey, imagine you're able to still, like, with your paycheck, maybe you might be able to put like $25 here, $100 here because that's all you have because you're going paycheck to paycheck. Well, what if you had another $500 a month to trading? What if you had another $1,000 a month coming into trading that you can now use with investing with and pay down your debt, pay down your bills? How would that actually make you feel? How would that personally change your situation as of today? And now they're thinking like, oh crap. You're like, yo, how would my life actually be different if I was able to trade and I was able to invest, have less bills, have less debt? They're actually listening so much more because they're thinking about their current situation from this last slide, and they're thinking what life actually can be as of, right? And now in residual income, I'll talk like, hey, most people get into trading and investing, they like most of us here in this room, in this class, when you first got into trading, I don't know if it was you, like I was 19. I didn't have a lot of money to really, trade with. I was 19 going through COVID, almost losing my job. Like my job, I lost like what, like $5 off my paycheck. I was going through COVID. Crazy time. They didn't even tell me. But it's like, hey, but residual income, the top like 5% of the population owns 95% of the wealth. And what do? They have a business and they invest. What if you had a way to not just have a job, but instead you had a business that you didn't either clock in for somebody else, but you can clock in for yourself, make more money, have more time, have more freedom. And now that is making you more money with trading. That's making you more money investing. And now you're growing your trading account, growing your investing account, and growing your business. And it just keeps cycling around and around and around and again. How does that actually make you guys feel? I know for me, this is where you guys should tell stories like, hey, I had this person, he made so and so, he did this, and he actually made him feel really good. That is why it's such an important thing to know your people as well. So that'll be like how you like more pre-surface like the meeting of opening up their eyes. Okay, now they're thinking about, hey, problem solution, right? And even when I'm talking about this event, we're talking about trading, we go over like, hey, objection prevention. We always talk about the top 5 trading myths. A lot of people say they don't have time, they don't have this, they don't have that, so they don't have that. So like, hey, for example, in trading, right? Everyone in this room, they think, hey, trading is going to be risky. What people don't understand is professionals only risk 1 to 3% of your account. So let's say you give like actual numbers. Let's say you get $1,000. Calling someone like, yo, you get $1,000, you lost $10. Are you mad? You're like, yeah, it's $10. I got $90 more. I'm good. That's the same way trading feels. You shouldn't be risking half your account, all your account, like these people online are doing, but instead you're risking just a small amount and you're able to grow it over time. That is the best thing that everyone actually should be doing. Myth number 2, we talk about trading is difficult. So this is where we talk about copy trading. Let's say, for example, if you're a beginner, you know nothing about trading, right? People in the room, you don't know who's going to show up to your event. You might have someone that might have been trading for 5 years. You might have someone that's been trading for 5 minutes. You never really know. Like, for example, trading is so difficult, but what if you're able to copy the right person? Like in school, everyone says, hey, copying is bad, you sent to the principal's office and all that kind of thing, right? But in reality, in life, you copy the right person, you have the same success. If I'm copying someone that's making 7-figure trading and I keep copying the trades, I'm going to be what? Eventually, I'm going to be a 7-figure trader. They're like, yo, I can copy somebody's trades and get the same results percentage-wise. And with no experience, they're like, okay, what do I have to do? Now you're already preventing that objection from happening in the very, very end. Next thing we talk about is going to be are the markets down? A lot of people that over the years I've realized do not understand that you can make money on the way up, but you also make money on the way down. Everyone like in the news, they see stocks, they see crypto, they see everything gold, everything like this is tanking and tanking and tanking. And a lot of this because we're doing Forex and futures, they think that we're losing a bunch of money. But when you tell them like, hey, even if the markets are down right now, I'll talk about, hey, I started within COVID. Everything was crashing, business were crashing, stocks were crashing. But it came to us, we were able to make money on the way down and just sell it on the way down, reinvest it, and be able to make money on the way back up double time. They're like, yo, like, what have I actually been doing? That is the best thing of all. And a lot of things to think ahead. You need a lot of time. So this is really important thing if let's say if you have like a team member that comes with you, like people on your team, leaders, things like that, you can ask them like, hey, yo, bro, how long does it take you to copy and paste a trade? Like, yo, 30 seconds, a minute, like, yo, raise your hand, you have a minute of time. Everyone's gonna say they got a minute in their day. There's no way. You're asking obvious questions because you know the obvious answers, and then that affects how they're actually going to be thinking the rest of the presentation. So let's say they say before I get to the end, like, hey, I don't have a lot of time. Like I work a lot. I work overtime. I do this. I do this. I do that. I have kids. I have a family. Whatever is going to be like their excuse not to start trading, you're handling all of this before you actually get to the close. And then the last one is they think you need a lot of money. So this is when I explain, hey, trading happens in 3 different ways. One thing you're gonna be having is a demo account. Instead of you being able to like trade with real money and you're more scared or emotional, you're gonna start with monopoly money, start with fake money. But the best thing of all, you're gonna be doing it in a real market. So if in here, for example, let's say if you're taking trades, copying a trade, get the rhythm down, when you actually get to your live account, let's say a couple of $100, you now have the confidence because you've been practicing so much. So you get to the game, it feels like second nature. Now you're getting your withdrawal. Now you might have made $50, $100, $1,000. Now we're actually able to scale your account on a bigger scale. Okay. That's the best thing. And then what we do a lot of times, like out here in Seattle, we'll have them like before they come to the event, they'll download Telegram, they'll download TradingView, TradeLocker, and actually make their broker. So we'll have all that done before. And then what we'll then explain is our 4-step system. So kind of what I showed you guys like on the one-to-one of like the last 20 minutes ago, we'll explain that over again. We'll show them actually how to take a trade. We'll show them actually the live sessions. We'll show them the automation when it comes out in a second. We'll show them the travel. We'll show them the community. All of them that I showed you guys already. Okay. And basically just resurface that up again. And then what I would suggest literally every one of you guys to be able to do is make a Telegram chat for your own city. Okay. Because now when you have an event, you're going to be able to have literally your own funnel of who was able to come, who showed up, who didn't show up, and actually who did it up again. So like for where's it at? So like for example, like some calls that we have, let's say if we have get pay sessions, right? Maybe they didn't join yet, but they're seeing success. You're able to do that. Let's say if you have trade downs in your city, you can put them in there. Like all the different things going on. We get pay session, I put that in there. Trade nights, you put that in there. We had a culture night. Like we put this stuff in there as well too, because now you're seeing so many different things you're missing out on. But like, yo, if I'm getting all this stuff for free because they came to the event, our events are free out here in Seattle. But let's say they came and they're seeing all these different things, they're seeing all these different signals that are going on. They're like, yo, like, bro, I'm missing out. I should be actually in this at like paying for this stuff after the event, of course. They don't know how much the price is. And now what's going on. Second thing we'll do as well too is we have like a signal chat. So like let's say for example, you're just seeing trades from I don't know, let's say like from DeFi, you can call that out. Let's say if you see trades out from like Delphine, Nudie, Tyler Collins, things like that, put that in your funnel. So now they're like, yo, people make it. So let's say like Delphine calls a seller a buy on gold or like NASDAQ, wherever she's trading, right? And it hits TP. You can like, yo, we just made 50 pips on this. You can be like, hey, like zero point zero 0.01 is equal to this amount. 0.1 is equal to this dollar amount, or 1.0 is equal to this dollar amount. So like they're seeing like, yo, they are actually making money all the time. That is the best thing of all. Okay. If you guys are with me so far, put a 7 in the chat. How about that? That. Fire. Okay. So when you guys are doing this event, right, and you're explaining everything and how it goes, again, you're gonna have a mix that are complete beginners and that are also advanced. So I'll talk about trading terminology. I should show them, hey, this is what a candle is. This is what pips is. Pips is the unit of the measurement. There's like football field in yards or heights in feet and inches. A pips is just points unit of measurement. I'll explain lot size. I'll explain technical analysis. This is a key part because a lot of people they think like, hey, trading is like gambling, like we're guessing. When you're telling like, hey, the market is a pattern. It moves in patterns, and we're able to understand the right pattern, you can make a right profit. So that's why we have this slide as well too. And then we'll actually place trades. So we'll tell them what an entry is, what a stop loss is, what a take profit is, what a lot size is, and then getting them ready to take a trade. So we'll show an example of like, hey, this is like gold. This is how like a signal will actually be shown when you're actually in the community. And it's like entry, stop loss, take profit, like for a buy, and then one for a sell to put that in their mind again, like, hey, you make money either way. That's why we show two different ones. And then we'll talk about the market in three different ways. You can either make money on the way up, in an uptrend you're buying, downtrend you're selling, and then the market is just moving sideways. The market is going to literally be consolidated, just moving sideways, right? And then again, I'll kind of talk about the VFA system, which is like the Academy Basic, which I showed you guys in the one-on-one call. The live sessions, I'll show them like the scanner. And personally, like I don't want to say like I'm biased, but with the DeFi, the reason why like we show DeFi all the time is because it's so simple. You want the simplest thing to a new person or even an advanced person. So let's say if they're a complete beginner, right? They're going to want the simplest system. Okay, they're like, Ace, I see a scorecard and it's blue. I buy, red, I sell. Stop loss, take profit. There's no guessing. There's no emotion. There's no, do I gotta make this thing flip? I gotta wait for this thing to come out. Like that's all you need to know. It makes it so much a lot easier to understand. And you can even talk about the signals chat. Let's say IQ signals. When DeFi is the go, I'm telling you guys. I'm not, I'm biased. I'm not going, I'm just saying. A lot of you haven't seen DeFi and stuff like that. It works. But you can show them the IQ signals chat that just got to upgrade. Show them like, hey, trades are being called out all day long. No matter if you work in the morning, daytime, nighttime, etc. They are actually able to see that, hey, there is a time for them. There is a way for them to make another source of income, no matter what their schedule is, no matter what their lifestyle is, no matter what they have going on for work, at home, kids, family. But this is the answer for them. And then basically a big thing I would say to go over is testimonies. So let's say if it's like just you, for example, then hey, you can like kind of like share some stories and things that are going on. Or maybe you can have like a Zoom kind of on and you can have like some people like from your team. Like, hey, let's say like you're in California. You have like a person that might be like in New Mexico, or it's like in New York. You can have them zoom in to the call and give a talk. And they're like, yo, this is like actually like a real person. It's not just this person. A lot of times, let's say if like you're like in your own city, like I don't know, maybe you might be like in South Dakota or something, I don't know. And it's like it's just you. You're like, hey, Ace, I don't have a team to really leverage at the moment. That's cool. Ask someone in the community. Let's say you have like your upline, your mentor, like, hey, can you zoom into this call for me? And that's where you are actually able to leverage so much more. Okay. So, and then we'll actually talk about becoming an affiliate. And I feel like this is a key thing because when we actually are having like presentations, a lot of people, I feel like shy away from showing that you can be an affiliate, right? If you guys feel like that, put yes in the chat. Do you guys feel like sometimes maybe like even yourself, like when you guys doing presentations, that people like shy away about like you can actually build the business? Or like we talk about it, like very, 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 very short and we kind of just move on. Like I don't know why like, a lot of people do that, but it's a thing because people are like, oh, scheme, people are like, you wouldn't just have me build, things like that, you know? But when you attack it like the right way, that is when things are biggest part. So the way that I explain basically becoming an affiliate, right? I'll actually paint a picture and I'll pick someone from the audience. It's like, yo, John, bro, like, what do you do for work? Oh, I'm I don't know. I work at a bank. Some say like something like that. I work at a bank, right? It's like boom. So like, are you? You're, most of the time you get a new job, everyone. We can all agree that you're most likely entry level. Is that agree? Is that yes? Everyone's gonna say yes. You're entry level. So like, are you at the top or at the bottom? Oh, I'm at the bottom, right? Boom. So like, are you getting paid the most or the least? The least. They're like, okay, cool. So like, who's above you? Do you have like a lead, a manager? How does it work? Oh, it's me. It's my lead. It's my manager. It's them. Who's above them? Oh, like my director. Who's above them? Oh, the district. So on, so on, so on, and so on. So I'm like, bro, you have all these people above you. Like, bro, like that's crazy. And the thing is now, it doesn't make this part of the presentation so awkward anymore. Because now they're just like, yo, we're just talking on conversation. I'm like, yo, is y'all's job like that way too? Y'all have managers, stuff like that? Like, what do you do? Oh, I did, da, 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 da. And now instead of them thinking about like, oh, they're just trying to like recruit me, they're like, okay, cool. Everyone's talking, everyone's kind of just going things like that. It's like, bro, like, don't you like, who is the manager? You're your manager. Like, you make it fun. Like, it doesn't feel like as like that awkward moment. They're like, yo, they're trying to recruit me. But like, okay, cool. How does stuff actually work? So let's say he's like, he's entry level, he works at a bank, whatever that person does, right? And if let's say if you don't know what people are doing, you can't like tell like by discernment. Ask them like, hey, has anyone like got like their first job? Does anyone remember like their first job? You can say something like that. Like, what did they do? Something like that. So like for example, right? The person above you, like your manager, the district director, like how long would it take you to actually be able to like, get a promotion? Well, like, I don't know, 6 months, a year, 2 years, 3 years. Like, yo, 3 years, bro? Like imagine everyone in this room, you guys, like let's say you wanted to be like the CEO, you make like 10K a month, etc. Right? You can't move up in your job till the person above you quits. So let's say they don't quit for the next 5 years. What are you gonna do? You don't want to stay at the job. You probably don't like your job. But the thing is about it is people that are also you're also entry level. It's not just you. They want the job as well too. So like you're not just fighting and waiting for them to leave. You also have to work harder, build on the next to you, but also you have to wait for the person above you to leave. And at the end of the day, no matter how hard you're working, you're still going to be making the least amount of money. And they're gonna be like, damn, they're like, well, that doesn't really make any sense. So I'm like, hey, instead of you wanting to climb up the ladder, and be basically from the bottom to the top, wouldn't it make sense to just build your own ladder? If that makes sense in the chat, put a yes or no. Put a yes. No, it's just like they're like, yo, instead of you waiting to go up this ladder, waiting for somebody else, competing with everybody else in the world, why don't you just build your own ladder? And a lot of them are gonna be like, okay, I'm listening. What does this mean? It doesn't feel like, yo, we want you just like to like do like recruiting, but a team just because we want to grow the community. But like it makes the most sense for them. When they don't think that like you're doing it just like for yourself, but it makes the most sense for them, they're gonna have a lot more drive to do it. And now you're not gonna have only members that are coming to the business, but you're also gonna have people that are also wanting to trade, but also more than that, they're gonna have a building mindset mentality already coming in. And I'll explain, hey, from you guys with residual income, right? What does this mean? Doing work one time and getting paid over and over and over and over again for something you did once. I'm like, bro, if you went to work Monday only through the week, are you getting paid Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday? I'm like, no. I'm like, bro, I do. This is exactly how. And we'll talk about three simple questions. So, like, how do you start with iconic? Obviously, like, say you can call someone like in the community. There's something like that, for example. It's like also like at the event, but you can just talk about yourself. Like three simple questions. Like, yo, you say, how can you start with iconic? You can ask them, like, yo, if you're getting results, being able to trade, or making money every single day, being in the sessions, like, yo, wouldn't it make sense to like tell your friend to start trading instead of getting a job? They're like, yeah. But yo, raise your hand if you brought your friend here. I'm like, I brought my friend here. Like, and they're gonna say they're going to get trade, want to make money, want to have a business. So why wouldn't you do it? You're already doing it. Why wouldn't you do it for yourself for a business? They're like, okay, this makes, I'm already doing it, I should do it. And you bring different examples. Like, yo, who's had like a Red Bull? Who's had Coca-Cola? Who's had Olive Garden? And you told your friend about it. You told your friend about a movie, things like that. And I'm like, yo, you're already leveraging all of the business, but they're not paying you. Why don't instead you do it for yourself and make another source of income? So it sucks on this part. And then the traditional path is again, it more fits like their lifestyle. Most people are going to school, get good grades, get a good job. Everyone hears about this. And the thing about this part, you don't have to like go like this deep in detail of everything. But the thing about it is you want to be able to explain facts and actually have resemblance. Average student loan debt is 40K. And the thing is, out of people that have all this debt, only 60% actually graduate from college. The people that graduate, only half of them get a job, half of them get a job outside of their degree. Now you have debt and a different degree for a job. And I think about it, it's what's so sad. It's 78% of people living paycheck to paycheck. They're like, yo, damn, like, bro, like people that are in your audience, they might went to school. They might be in debt. They might not be in that same degree. They might be living paycheck to paycheck. 85% of people are dissatisfied with their jobs. Most of the people that are probably at the event don't like their job. That's why they're there, right? The average person will go through 12 different jobs. And the best part or the worst part about it, in their case, right? AI will affect 300 million jobs. And they're like, yo, 300 million jobs, bro? Like, what if that's mine? Now they're thinking like, yo, I need to get out of this job. I want to trade, but I don't have money. This is the answer. Hold on, let me drink this real quick. So a lot of this too, I could just dropping more facts. Out of 100 people that are working 25 by 65, is 2 are wealthy, 8 are financially independent, 20 are still working, 50 rely on Social Security, 17 are deceased or passed away. And you're saying this because like, yo, only 10% of people that have been working for 4 years of life actually make it. And you're like, yo, 54% of people, right, rely on Social Security. I'm like, yo, I'm 24. I'm young. I'm pretty sure everyone that's called, like, let's say, might be like on a younger age, might not, I don't know. But yo, what are you gonna do when you only have your job and they cut off Social Security? You're going to need another source of income. That's the expense part. And then now the best part that you can say, okay, why this industry, right? Like, why are we actually doing this? Why are you becoming an affiliate? Why are actually people doing this? And it's like, hey, companies are spending millions and billions and billions and billions of dollars doing billboards, doing radios, doing commercials, all this advertisement, right? But the thing is, within here, instead of Iconic doing this, they actually pay us to share the product in-house ourselves. And then say win. Okay, like why are they doing this? It's the win for the company because now instead of them paying for billboard advertisers and stuff like that, they can now put it back into their own members. Right. So basically like, the company is winning. You as a customer or as a member, you're winning because you're getting the best products, you're getting the best system, you're getting the best trading session. So you're happy making money trading. And affiliates, you win because now you're able to make money trading, make money building, and now you have 2 incomes. Like, would you rather want the Gucci, would you rather want that Dior bag, or do you want both? Like, yo, I want both of them. So why would you not do it in your own lifestyle? Right. And you're just more enforcing more facts to them. So a lot of you guys probably on this call know what's this called? Robert Kiyosaki. If you don't, definitely look him up. He wrote one of the best books in the world, like Business 21st Century and Rich Dad Poor Dad. So you'll explain like, hey, only top 5% actually, the top 5% of people that own all the world's wealth own or they invest and they own a business. They're like, yo, why aren't you doing the exact same thing? And you can now get like a personal testimony, like, hey, when I actually got into like becoming an affiliate, I learned literally the best things of my life. I learned that when you're actually becoming a leader, I'm learning how to actually speak to people. I'm learning how to actually lead different groups of people. I'm learning whatever that key thing for you, because they want to know more of like your story of how you're actually doing everything. That is a key part. Because think about it, right? On this call, you guys can probably like understand, like, hey, you might be an affiliate, a leader, but hey, you're probably a therapist, you're a relationship handler, you're a support person, right? You're all these different things. You become a leader, and you learn all these different things at one time, which is so, 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 so cool, right? You can show them like, hey, low barrier of entry, so basically anyone can get in. Now, after you are paycheck to paycheck or you have a 7-figure job, you are able to do this, and it doesn't have to take all of your time away. Instead, you might not have, 20 hours a week to do this. You might just have 1 hour a week. That is why you are doing this, right? And they can explain residual income versus leverage income. I explained to them, like, hey, if you can make 10,000 a month trading only, Would you do it? Raise your hand. People do it, yes. Like, yeah, like you can do it for bills, you can do it for the mortgage, you can do it for your mom paying your bills, stuff like that, right? Things that they would want to have going on in reality. Like, yeah, what would you do that 1 month? You might have a bad month trading. What would you do? What would you do? Like, you don't want to go back to a job, right? But the thing about it is you need residual income. Because now, no matter what, like, let's be honest, right? You know, on this call, when it's like Monday through Friday, let's say you have like $1,000 trading account on Monday, you do not know how much money you're going to make on that Friday. I'm not saying trading is bad, but when it comes into trading, there is no salary cap. You can keep making more and more and more money, but you need to have money to begin with. So when you have residual income, a business that is coming in and paying you and paying you and paying you, you now have more income coming in that to where you're not emotionally attached to. That's actually helping you be able to grow your business, grow your investment portfolio, and also grow your trading account. And the best part about it is everything's already done. A lot of people may actually are becoming an affiliate or like learning stuff about it. They don't understand when you're having a business, you gotta go get a business license. You gotta go get the lawyers. You gotta go pay for the product. You gotta go pay for the marketing. You gotta go pay for the employees. You gotta do all of it. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. All right, trucking. You want 50K trucking business. Products. Some products be costing like $100,000 a month. Like people pay a lot of stuff doing other businesses. Being honest. But when you're here, everything is already done for you. And think about it, you're already meeting people every single day. You go to the store, you go to the gym, you have your hobbies, you have your friends, you're meeting so many people. But how would you feel if you're able to actually add value to them and help them make another source of income? And they're like, yo, like this makes sense. This is cool. Right? They're explaining things more and more and more and more. So now they understand, okay, why network marketing? Why become an affiliate? But the thing about it is you can be an affiliate anywhere. Team, company, product, stuff like that. But now you're okay, boom. That is more the broader spectrum. And now they're okay, boom. Why you? Why the team? Why Iconic? You talk about the people. Like you can give personal testimonies of people that you were actually able to meet. Like I'm like, yo, bro, I met this dude Matthew Cruz. Like, look, he actually be able to change my life these last 3 years. I was a person that was just 19 years old coming into trading. I didn't know anything. I didn't know business. I didn't know credit. He's actually able to help me out, actually where I can help myself out, my mom out, my girlfriend out, learn another source of income. Channel lifestyle. Give actual stories. Give actual things that are happening on there, things that you're seeing. Talk about the community. Let's say, for example, with your team, you might be seeing the conventions. You can talk about the conventions, right? You can talk about the trade nights. You can talk about the group FaceTimes, things like that are going on that brings that community feel. Two, the second P is product and services. Like, yo, we have the best products, best services. Give a testimony. It might be about DeFi. It might be about Killshot. It might be about live session. It might be about I don't something things like that. For example, it might just be like just like the corporate staff, things like that, right? The pay plan. We have a really, really, really aggressive pay plan, right? Like most things that are doing sales and things like that, a lot of their percentage is like what, like 3%, 5%, right? A lot of the ranks here, like the first couple of ranks, they're getting probably I think like what, 30%, like 17%, I'm pretty sure. And like, bro, that is very, very, very aggressive. Like I'm telling you, like most car sales, y'all, they're getting like 5%. If that, really. All they're like 3%, 5% of things that they sell. When you're hitting these ranks, look them up. Look how much you're actually making percentage wise of how much basically the package is versus how many people versus how much you're making a month. We're getting a really high percentage of how much you're actually getting paid. We are understanding that is very, very, very ideal. And positioning and timing. He's like, yo, a lot of stuff in the world right now is going into trading, having a business, going to online income, and investing. You have all of the next vision that you're seeing from AI, investing, trading, owning a business, all different things. You have all of it in one in this platform, all of it in one in this team. If you want to talk about travel, you can talk about travel. I don't want to talk about travel too much, but I really should. We can talk about travel as well too. But that's why I explain basically like the 4 Ps, and then I'll basically like break down this part. So before I show this, right, I'm like, hey, how many people do you guys know? I'm like, yo, you go in your phone contacts, bro, sis. How many people do you have in your contacts? Go to the very bottom. Like, yo, I know 40 people. If I got more than 40, how many people you got? Yo, I got 55. Yo, I got 60. Yo, I got 100. Yo, I got 1,000. Da, da, da. And I'll kind of keep going. I'm like, bro, like, and I'll go to them like, hey, yo, you only need four. Like, what do you mean I only need four for the platform? I'm not gonna talk about the price, but I'll talk about the price and then I'll show this. For example, I'll talk about four no more. I'll let Shani talk about that as well too, about the next 10 minutes. I was like, yo, you only need four people. Like, what do you mean? Like, yo, you have four people, you're four no more. Membership's free. It's done. It's what everyone say free, free. Yo, everyone say optional. Everyone say optional. Say optional, optional. And now they don't feel like they have to do this, but it just makes sense to. That's the best part. Like, yo, you only need how many? Oh, I only need four. How many? I only need four. Boom, fire. Now you get to bronze, right? Bronze is 14 people and paying $700 a month. Like, yo, if you made $700 extra a month, how would you feel? Well, they get a little bit ahead. I'm like, yo, if your job took away $700 a month from your paycheck right now, you're calling HR tonight. Like, okay, yeah, now it feels a little bit different. Because maybe they're going paycheck to paycheck. Maybe they don't have, maybe they have a lot of bills. Yo, if your job took away $700 a month, you're throwing a fit. You're there before the doors actually even open. And they're like, okay, that makes sense, right? But you only need how many? Oh, I need four. Now they're not thinking of 14, they're thinking of only four. Because think about it, it's a cumulative. You have four people, they get four people each. You're really actually sober, to be honest. You help four, they each get four. So 4, 8, 12, 16 plus original four, you're making $1,000 a month. And they're like, oh crap. I'm like, yo, if you made $1,000 a month, how would you feel with 40 people on your team? But you only need how many? Four. So they're not going to be looking basically at all this stuff. They're thinking, well, I only need four, because you do. That's honest. I mean, it's not a lie. It's you only need four people. It's true. But you're maybe make another $1,000 a month. Yo, gold. There's gold, for example. If you're making another $1,500 a month, how would you feel? You're making another 3,000, another 5,000. Imagine if you're making $10,000 a month, able to use that for investing, able to use that for trading, able to just grow the business. Now you're not going check to check, you're not clocking for somebody else, growing someone as a businessman. Now you have your own business, right? I'm like, hey, you don't need four, now you need six, all right? Now you need six. And they're like, okay, now it makes people laugh a little bit, and it doesn't feel like so awkward, like out the loop. Okay, all right. If this makes sense so far, put an 8 in the chat. Then when I was done. Fine. And I'll tell them like, hey, like, yo, you give a testimony. Let's say if it's Matthew Cruz, let's say it's BJ, let's say if it's Matthew Fernandez, let's say if it's your leader, whoever leader is. I can like, yo, like, bro, whoever like your mentor, your upline is, you can leverage leader stuff like that as well too. You're like, yo, this person's making such and such dollars a month, bro. Like, I don't know what you're doing. I know you might be saying, like, hey, Ace, how much are you making right now? I can tell you in the next year, I'm gonna be making this set income as well. And you can tell them now your vision. Let's say if your vision is to have the next 100 people in your city, in your state. Maybe it might be with Iconic, there's 700 people, 750 right now, you're going to get to 1,000. Tell them that vision. Like, yo, we have two people in, I don't know, South Dakota, Minnesota. We have 50 people in Memphis, wherever it is, right? Like, yo, my personal vision is get to such and such people. I want to help as many people as I possibly can be able to be financially free and independent to change their lifestyle. And I wanted to be with you guys as well. Something like that. They're like, yo, I'm actually part of something, right? You explain the wealth gap. This is more like Robert Kiyosaki as well too. Of like, yo, the top 5% of wealth earners, right, own 95% of the wealth. Business owners, they invest. The bottom 9 to 5, right, is they are an employee or they're self-employed, but they only own 5% of the world's wealth. Like, yo, you are needing to get to be the top 5% of people of having a business and investing. We are able to do both. It's a no-brainer. It makes the most sense. And then this is when you're basically talking about the price. I'm trying to kind of like show like how we close this as well too and everything. And then we'll say like book a strategy session. So let's say, for example, there's like a lot of people at like the event. If you can close them in person, close them. Okay. Because they're a big assignment, they're there. If you can close them at the event, close them. Okay. But let's say, for example, like, hey, yo, I'm gonna think da 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 da. They would think about it. There's basically they've seen everything possible, but they're just uncertain, which is okay. We say book a strategy session. What that means is you're going to plan a call. Let's say if it's a Wednesday, you're going to book a call the next 24, 48 hours, or as soon as possible, as soon as you possibly can. Do not have them leave without either signing up or without them having a call with you and your mentor, your upline. It is so required. But the biggest thing you want to do is not have to call everybody, figure out if they want to get on the call, get them texting you back, calling you back, and now you kind of just lost leads. But if you're able to do it right then and there, it is the biggest thing that you actually can do, and you will get so many more people actually in your team. Okay? And all of that kind of like Sonny talked about this as well too. And then we'll leverage like Toronto, and then sometimes we'll do another training. So the biggest thing, the best thing I would say too is let's say if it is like just you in your city, just in your state, you can run like this first part of everything of like trading, the myths, how to take a trade, how to place a trade, and everything. And then like when it comes like to closing, like becoming an affiliate, showing the price and everything, you can have like your upline actually like chime in, for example. Okay. So I know I have like 5 minutes left. What questions, if any, do you guys personally have as well too, just in case? So that's like 5 minutes, like 3 to 5 minutes, for example. If any. If any. No questions, no questions, no questions. I'm gonna give like 30 seconds. More like 10 seconds, if any questions. But the biggest thing I would kind of say, like when tips you guys is when you guys are doing one-on-ones, when you're speaking like at events and everything as well too, is you're going to make sure that you have the confidence. The thing about it too, a lot of people, even if let's say like you mess up, for example, it is their first time seeing the information. They're not even going to probably know if you messed up. You might have messed up a word, a vocab word, a term, stuff like that. They're probably not going to know. Being completely honest. But the thing about it is running these events, right? We have like what, like 40 days left going into Toronto. Everyone should at least throw one home event by then, if not three. Being completely honest. It's just me and my city. There's no one else here. Da, da, da. Figure it out. So serious. Figure it out. Coffee shop, run an event. Library, run a home event. Your house, someone else's house, mom's house, uncle's house, somewhere, somehow, sometime. Run 1, 2, 3 home events before we actually go to Toronto the next 40 days. I'm telling you guys, it will be able to give you that push in your team that you need. Because imagine how much better you'd be. Let's say if there's no one in your city, imagine you're running home events and they join, they're gonna know what? They're gonna know to be throwing their own home events. What they see is what they do. If let's say you have people out in your city as well too, and they're seeing you throw home events, throw all these events in your house, at offices, Panera Breads, things like that, they're gonna probably do what? They're gonna follow the leader. Imagine you had yourself and you had 3 other people throwing home events the same day. Each of you guys, let's say you get like 5 people, that's 20 people in one day. You might just had 5 people sign up in one day. Boom. Someone might have just ranked up. You have momentum. Someone just hit 400 more momentum. Someone just hit silver, bronze, gold, etc. You just hit platinum. You just hit diamond, stuff like that, right? And you're gonna see that momentum flow. Now, say you have someone that's like in another city, another state, right? And they need that leverage. And let's say like you're a silver plus, gold plus. Yo, have them run the first part of the event. Tell them, put their big boy, big girl pants on, right? And you do the second part and you'll be able to close them, right? That is the best thing that you guys should be doing as much as possible. Okay. So if you're a person that's going to take advantage from these first 2 things we have before we actually shine, my boy Sonny out there in New Zealand. I see my boy. Good to see you, my guy. I see coming, you guys how to close and do things after this event, right? And after like a one-on-one for closing, right? Put a yes in the chat. Again, put a yes in the chat if you're going to make a commitment to do 1, 2, 3 home events at a home, a library, a coffee shop, somewhere, sometime, someplace, somehow, and be able to actually show the plan, have your upline, have your mentor actually come in and they can do the closing deal for you guys. I'm telling you guys, if you guys do that at least just once a month, your business will grow so much faster, you guys, right? But to kind of shift gears, right? We're actually going to be having my boy Sonny, right? When I tell you guys, this is actually kind of crazy. Like, me and Mel, like we're in the US and also Canada, I'm on the Western side. But I'm telling you, this man is literally across the globe and he is killing it. When I've seen him, like he's in the industry for like the last 6 years, you guys. I've seen him like at the very beginning when I actually got into with the same team before. And when I tell you, his person, I was like, he's mainly just trading, right? He was doing his thing, doing his do, figuring things out. And I'm telling you, this man went from a trader to an affiliate to now an official leader that has led an entire movement in New Zealand. I'm telling you guys, if you want to know how to grow a team, you want to know how to be able to close people, how to duplicate that back into your team as well to have them close people, this is your guy. Been in the industry for 6 years. He's actually in New Zealand. He's already cleared 6 figures in the markets, y'all. When I tell y'all a boss trader, this is your guy. The thing about it is he knows how to duplicate. This man has literally helped 10 people become 6-figure earners. Y'all, 10 people become 6-figure earners. And the thing about it is he didn't stop there. He's helped actually one individual actually reach their first million in the markets, you guys. So if you guys have not been paying attention these first 2 hours, definitely make sure you have your cameras on, you have your notebooks out, that you're paying attention for my boy Sean, because everything he says, it is gems. Everything he does not just a person that just talks about it, talks about it. No, he walks in the flesh. He makes sure he's doing it every single day. But the best part of all, he is giving it back to his team, you guys. So if you guys can drop some flames for my boy, in New Zealand. That man Sonny. Let's run it, brother.
Yes, sir, man. Yes, sir. What is going on, family? Please, please, please. I know I'm getting fire emojis in the chat for myself, but I just want to give some fire emojis in the chat for our speakers, man, because that has been a whole lot of game since the last 2 hours, man. So if you guys haven't been taking notes or haven't been, on your phone and being able to digest this information, man, you guys are doing yourselves a disservice because everything that is being said from Mel, right, and also from Ace too, absolutely phenomenal information that can really change your guys' situation, man. So I just want to say thank you guys as well for being able to share for the team because I know for sure if you guys take away even just those gems right now, you guys would be doing absolutely, you guys would be very successful when it comes down to building a business and being able to do that as well. So, with that being said as well, family, I just want to say, again, appreciate you guys really just paying attention for the last 2 hours too. I know there's been a lot of information. I really just get straight to it as well when it comes down to the closing aspect of the business too, right? So, again, what I want to talk about really first is the close, right? So I want you guys to understand, man. I want you guys to assume already after what Mel and also what Ace has been able to explain to you guys, assume that they're ready, right? Assume with confidence, like Mel was saying, if you hold yourself with confidence, 90% of the time, guys, once you guys understand that when you hold yourself with confidence within 90%, right? You could say, even if you get the wrong information, like what Ace was saying, right? You can even say this wrong information. 90% of it is your confidence in how you actually uphold yourself. So you want to assume that they're ready to get started, right? One question when I asked them after they've been exposed to a one-on-one event, after they've been able to exposed to even a webinar, right? Whatever event that they get exposed to, what I want to say to them are these questions, right? What I say to them after they've gone to an event is I say to them, one question is, what did you like most about what you saw? Right? What did you like most about what you saw? Because why I say, what did you like most about is because 90% of human thoughts is negative. So if you want to say to them, guys, like, hey, okay, when you seen this event or when you went to this event, what did you like most about it? Now they have to think, right, about something that was positive. So think about that. Hey, guys, what did you like most about this event? Right? Because now after they've explained it, all right, okay, I like this. Now what you want to do is build a rapport. Okay, cool. That was amazing that they had live sessions, right? I'm so grateful that they have sessions that can work on my schedule, on my lifestyle, because I'm working at the moment. But the fact that I can plug into these live sessions during this hour and make time for this, right, that makes me more confident and understanding that I can actually plug into these systems, right? You want to build rapport with the people and understand, okay, cool, relate to them. Okay, yeah, that's exactly why I started. I understood that, while I was coming from a working 40-hour weeks, I understood that if I could plug in after work at this time with this live session, I could make it work. So if I had an hour of my day to plug into these sessions around this time, I could confidently say that I could make that work. Right. So I'm relating with the prospect or relating with the person that wants to get started in your business. Another question that I want to ask him afterwards too is from a scale from 1 to 10, right? So what I say to them is where are you sitting on a scale from 1 to 10? 10 being you're being ready to get started right now to, like 1 not being too interested in getting started, right? From wherever they say, like for example, if they say 7 out of 10, 8 out of 10, or 9 out of 10, I say perfect. Okay, cool. Before we get you started, what questions or what do you have in mind for me that I can answer for you? Right. So that's what I say to them. Okay, where are you on a scale from 1 to 10? 1 being not too interested to 10 being yes, definitely interested to get started. Whereabouts would you sit on a scale? Now, when they say if they're not a 10, what can I get you to a 10? Right. So when you say what can I get you to bring you to a 10, they'll normally tell you their excuse, right? Or their objection, right? Which is the next thing that I'll get into shortly. But before I even go into like what we're getting into objections and stuff as well, guys, I want you guys to all understand that people buy emotionally, right? People buy emotionally. And what that means, guys, is that people don't join companies, people join you. So I want you guys to understand that they're not looking straight for Iconic. They're looking at the person that's in Iconic that's trying to get them into the company, right? So understand that they buy emotionally. So what you guys want to do as well, guys, is that you want to keep digging until you understand what really matters, right? Why is that important? What happens if like you want to ask these questions as well? The pain points, what Mel went over, what also what Ace went over too, like the pain points of people. Why is it important that you get started inside of this business? You know, what happens if nothing changes? If you tell me all of these goals that you're trying to say, I want you guys to understand, okay, what if you don't take that risk on yourself to actually get inside of this business, right? What's going to change? So I always give the pain points, like how long, again, another question I like to say too is how long has this been affecting you, right? Are you going to stay the same within the next year? Is what you're doing in your career, are you going to change? Is that going to change if you're saying to me as well, like you're trying to make 10K a month, right? What is the change that you're going to do now that's going to get you different results? Because the true definition of insanity, guys, I want you guys to all understand the true definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. So a lot of people come into this, right? Well, like the objections, what they say, like, okay, I want to change, but how do you change, right? Giving them an opportunity like this to make this X amount of money, right, will give them a reason to start. And now they're thinking, okay, cool, maybe this can be the change for me, right? And also, guys, this is another incentive too, is you want to increase action through the threshold, right? So what I mean by this, guys, is sometimes people just need a reason to move today, right? They want a reason to get started today. And how you could actually do that, guys, is by doing promotions, for example, right? You might see inside of the chat with RFG, also with FCB, also with VIP, all of the different groups that we have, we might do promotions, right? Promotions inside of there as well. So we can be doing $50 off, $100 off, whatever the case may be, to get that person started today. Because sometimes, again, it might be a financial situation, but if we dimmed it down to like $50, $100 off, then that gives them more reason to get started today. So even giving them the ability to have one-on-one mentoring with ourselves, right? Giving that certain, I would say, that certainty and understanding that they have that support not only with the community, but knowing that we're going to be able to check in with them on a day-to-day basis. Sometimes, guys, you know, the people are very hesitant because they might need extra guidance. They might need that extra support, but giving them an understanding like, yes, I'll be able to walk you through this as you go through the platform. Because yes, that is great information when it comes down to, you know, the academy, also with the live sessions, but knowing that you have a one-on-one mentoring support and knowing that we have check-ins to make sure that people are doing the right things, people will make sure, like, people will trust you when it comes down to it as well. So having that trust and having that belief inside of your people, knowing that they'll come in and having a successful experience is very important. Another one as well, guys, is also events. So again, like what Ace was going over, having these events, having these in-person events too. People pulling up to, you know, a free trading event or even just speaking about it. You know, I've had many teams that go to coffee stores even that were just talking about events and what we have to do here. People love joining communities in general, right? They love people, right? Going into spaces where there's high frequency, speaking about trading, speaking about business, speaking about like-minded things together, right? Ideas. Because again, guys, when you're surrounded by people that are talking about ideas, when you're surrounded by people that are just talking about getting to the next level, you're naturally going to walk out of that room wanting more, right? That energy that you get inside of these rooms, people want more of that. So they're like, damn, okay, cool. Like, let me get started. Like, let me get into this type of room because I loved that energy that was inside of that event as well, right? Also, another one, guys, is having extra bonuses. So, like, on top of that, it could be coming into this and giving them promotions or coming into the space and they could get extra stuff. Like, for example, I've had many events that I've hosted and they'll come to the event. I would give them a book, right, about personal development, or I'd give them a book about trading, or I'd give them a book about journaling, right? These different bonuses that you guys come to the event with, you guys could give them an incentive, right? I give them, for example, many events I've had, yeah, books. I've had even some certain speakers that will come to my event as well. That will be outside of trading, but they could be specifically talking about business or, just a motivational speaker that will come along, that can give that as well. So that's very important, guys, is to bring certain increase your action through these thresholds that will do it as well. So, guys, the next thing I want to really talk about is handling objections now, right? Because you guys are going to face these things, right? So number one, like you probably heard it the most, and you guys could probably give me some inside of the chat box if you do want. But I'll give one as well. So like while I say this one, you can drop some other ones inside of the chat box if you do come across it. But number one is money, right? Is I can't afford it, right? That's one of the main objections. Okay, man, I can't afford this at this time right now. Let me know in the chat, like type of one in the chat box if you guys ever face that. If you guys are trying to come across this product and they're saying, "Oh, I can't afford it." Okay, we'll probably had that as well. All right, cool. Right, we've had many people come into this as well, saying that they can't afford it. Right, one answer that usually always works for me as well, and you guys can use this, is that my response to this I always say to them and say, well, that's exactly why we're having this conversation, so we can help you get into a better financial situation. So I started there when I said I can't afford it, but then I got started because I couldn't afford it, right? So I understood that I needed to be in a better financial situation. That's why I got into this opportunity in the first place. So most people, again, they'll spend $200 on shoes. Most people will spend $300 on another something that's designer. They'll go out to a dinner. They'll do all these other things, but they're not willing to invest in themselves. So I get them the perspective. Okay, cool. If you could spend this amount of money on these subscriptions, if you could spend some amount of money on like Netflix, on these other these other things that are just costing you money, right? If you're not willing to make an investment inside of yourself, that all of these other things are just taken away from your money, well, then you're making not the best financial to get out of your financial situation, you have to do something about it. So a lot of people that say that they can't afford it is because they can't manage their money correctly. So if you were to put your money into a place where you could actually invest your money in the right way, and you could actually use our opportunity and be able to trade and being able to manage that correctly, you guys will be in a much better financial situation than you were then. So that's how I would normally handle the objections when I was talking about how they can use about money. The next thing that's really the objection is time, right? Type of one in the chat as well. If you guys have ever got that too, like oh man, I just don't have the time for this. I'm a busy man. I'm a busy woman. I've been able to, I'm too busy for this, right? Yeah, we'll probably had that before too. So another response for me, what I like to do when this objection comes out to it, when they say I don't have enough time, I say to them, well, how much time do you have? And as soon as they respond to me, like, okay, like I actually, well, I've actually got time here. I've actually got an hour here. Like I've got an hour on the weekends, right? These 2 days I can actually have some time off. That's good. You can say, well, great, that's perfect. Because all you need really is an hour a day. And all you really need is like 2 hours a day. If you can plug into a session for like an hour, by all means, that's great. Perfect. You can jump onto a live session, make your trades, take your trades, and you'll be done for the day. So if you have an hour of your day that you can, instead of, let's say, for example, bringing it back to Netflix, right? A lot of people could plug into a show and binge watch that for 2 to 3 hours. If you took away that Netflix time and you reinvested it into the business, into trading, then you would have time. So that's how I like to use it as well, right? Our thing is I don't know the first thing about trading. It looks too hard or complicated. Perfect. Yeah. So that's a good one as well, Keela. So when people say as well, like I don't know it as well, like, okay, I don't know the first thing about trading. It looks too hard or too complicated. Ace did a really good explanation of this when he was talking about showing them through the platform. So our platform has the basics, right? I like to usually share our screen and talk about the academy. and how to break it down from a beginner standpoint all the way to an advanced level. So we have all of these different classes to show people exactly where to go, and knowing that they have a step-by-step guidance and step-by-step coaching or mentoring as they go through, and understanding that they have a community that's being able to support them through their journey as well, to make sure that they're up to date too. So if they're struggling or not to know what to do or what information is which, well, that's what our job is to make sure that people come into this space and have an understanding of where to go and how easy it is, where it could go through these classes and taking one step at a time, right? Because everyone learns at a different pace, but it's making sure that they're taking steps, not leaps. And we have those steps in order for them to be able to learn as well, right? Another one, guys, and on time too, is trust, right? It like probably is exactly what you're saying as well. Is, I'm not sure about it. I need to think about it. Is it, they always say that as well. Let me think about it, right? You probably heard that too. What you want to do when they say, like, let me think about it, what you want to do around there, guys, is you want to keep asking questions until you find the root issue. So that goes back to the pain points, right? Going back to the pain points and seeing exactly what can they do in order to get them to tell you what their pain points are. Because as soon as they say to them, like, as soon as they say to you, like, okay, well, now it's actually my time, or maybe it's not me being able to afford it, those are all pain points, right? So now once you get those pain points, you can bring it back to those objections to then lead it to those answers as well. So that's how I would do it too. And what you want to do too as well, guys, is you want to make sure that you want to make sure that you felt what you said, and you also want to find a solution. So you want to feel how they felt, and then also find the solution as well. So for example, you want to say like, I understand how you feel. I understand others felt the same way. But what they found was, right, and give them the answer to that too. Also, you want to relate it back to a real story as well. When you're building a rapport with people and understanding that these are real stories that have happened with either yourself or one of the team members, they will then they'll also understand like, okay, these are real things, right? The next thing really, guys, I want to go over is the 4 Ps, right? The 4 Ps, which is preventing objections, right? Preventing objections is the 4 Ps. Number one, when it comes down to the 4 Ps, is personalize. So what this is as well, guys, is understanding exactly what they need. Right? You want to understand exactly what people need to be able to do these things as well. What do they need in order to get started? Right? Was it more time? Was it like that they needed to trust the process a little bit more? Right? What do they need in order to actually get started? Was it like an incentive? Was it for them to get into the room of the event of other people that are doing the same thing? Right? Making sure we know what they need in order to get to it. Right? The second P is perceived value, right? Perceived value. So you want to be able to make sure that you're looking, again, you can look very professional. You want to be able to, like, especially in an event setting, you want to be able to look professional, as in like dressing up, like you don't, dressing up like confidently, right? I'm not saying you have to wear like a suit and tie, but make sure that you're like confident in speaking. You want to create confidence and speak professionally from that as well. Making sure that you're knowing that you're giving value inside of that room, whether that's your appearance, whether that's how you're speaking, whether that's creating confidence for other people that's walking in the room, right? Those are all those things too. Number 3 is performance. So you want to show how everything actually works, right? So again, Ace did an amazing job as well, like being able to explain like how the platform works, going through the academy, going through all the live sessions, right? Showing people that it actually works, other people's testimonies, right? Which actually brings me into the fourth one, which is proof. So you want to use relevant stories, testimonies, and results. And the better that these 4 are, the fewer objections that you guys will actually receive, right? So the better every single one of those P's are, you will find that you have less objections by the time it gets to the to proof. Now, the next one that I want to go over with you guys as well, guys, is the follow-up. So the fortune is actually in the follow-up, right? The fortune is in the follow-up. So you never let someone leave without actually booking the next step. So what that actually looks like, guys, so it could be the last exposure could have been an event. The last exposure could have been an opportunity call or a one-on-one event as well. Again, as you want to go, this is just like a recap. So like, what they like best. What did they like best about it? What were their objections coming into it? So if they said to you like time was is a factor, right now you know that. The next exposure is a follow-up date. So knowing when to follow up with this person that you've had to the event as well is very important. So expecting a date when you can actually tune in with them, and then choosing the next exposure based on them. So, for example, they would have told you what they liked best about the platform that you presented, right? Was it the trading? Okay, cool. What about the trading did they like? Did they like that we have live sessions? Do they like that the most? Cool. That's what you want to present at the next follow-up and make sure that they understand it a little bit more. Was it the culture that they like best? Right? Did they like the community or the event? Did they like the people that were inside of it? Cool. Did they like the technical bit about it? Did they like the scanners of how they could use the scanners independently? Right? That's another one. Was it family oriented? Right? Because we are family oriented. We have fathers, we have mothers. I'm a father myself. Right? Bringing people inside these things as well. Right? People love that they can bring their families around this and making sure that their family is more than welcome as well. We also have different calls to make sure that people are following up with each other as well. So bringing it back to like mentoring, like checking in with people, making sure that they're doing okay. Again, people don't care about what you have to say until you know that they care about you, right? So making sure like they're checking in on them, seeing how they're doing, how their family's been, all of that type of stuff as well. When I'm following up with people as well, guys, it's never to say like, hey sis, or hey bro, like, so are we good to get started? Like, it's never that. I always say to them like, hey, like, how are you doing in general? Right? It's never like, okay, hey, like, would you like to get started today? Right? Because again, you don't want to be pushy when it comes down to following up with people. You want to make sure that they hear you for you, right? They want to make sure that you're letting them know that you actually care about them as well. Okay, so that's another one. And then again, guys, like this, it's very important. Like when you're following up with people too, is making sure that you have posture, and you also have conviction as well. So you want to remember people don't need convincing, they need clarity, right? People do not need convincing, they need clarity. So make sure that they know everything about it as well. If they understand the information, if they don't, that's okay. You can re-present the information as well. Understand as well, guys, that it may take more than 2 to 3 exposures at a time, right? 2 to 3 exposures at a time to make sure that people actually understand the information that is being shared. I've had many people that have come onto like either my calls or either on the opportunity calls or any of the events that we've been to, and they may not have joined you on that day or on that spot like during that time as well. But I knew that if they got re-exposed again to the opportunity or to what we're doing, I understood that again, people don't think about the business as much as we do until they're a part of the business. Right. So once they're in it, then they're thinking, okay, well, like, yeah, we've got these calls today, plugging in with the get paid session. Like that's our thought process. But for a person that's not inside of the business, they don't know that. Their life is, oh, I've got to take my kids to school. I've got to go to school today. I've got to go to work today. That's their thought process. That's why people may not join on the first exposure. They might have to join on a third exposure, right? And that's why the fortune is in the follow-up, because if you follow up with these people, which it's very important too, those people that you're following up with and getting them re-exposed to it is now changing their perspective on, okay, well, I've actually got an opportunity call today. That was actually really great information. I need to know more, right? They're starting to now be curious about what we have to offer. So that's why it's important to re-expose the opportunity as well, right? And I want you guys to understand as well, you don't want to constantly be on their case. It's okay to just follow up with people. But I want to really end with this. I know I was supposed to be on here for like 60 minutes, but I've, really wrapped it up here. But I want you guys to all understand as well, guys, is that some will, some won't. So what next? Just completely transparent, right? Again, like what Mel was saying as well, we don't have to convince people to join. We all know, everyone that's on this call as well, that this does work. So some will, some won't. So what next, right? There's many, many people out there in the world, right? There's over, I'm not sure how many is there, 6 billion, like over that. There's many people that need to hear this and be a part of the platform and the community that we're with. So if someone doesn't want to join, that's okay, right? I've had people as well, for example, guys, that I exposed the business to a year ago, 2 years ago, even 3 years ago that have exposed the business. But because I keep posting my results and just because I keep doing this and because I travel and because I make money from, from trading and from the business too, people now hit me and be like, yo, Shawnee, like, I see you're doing, I know that you're consistent when it comes to this. What do I do to get started? So those people never know they're not a right now. So people that say to you like, okay, like, no, it's okay. Like, I don't want to join at the moment. Just know that you're planting a seed now. So your fruits of your labor will flourish later along the line. Right. And that's to do with all your results and that's to do with your consistency when it comes down to what you're doing right now as well. But again, guys, I'll just wrap it up with this is that the goal is, right? Every conversation should achieve one of the two outcomes. Is number one, they join, or the next one is they have a scheduled next exposure, right? You never leave without a clear next step. So every single person either join on the spot after you've had that conversation, or they have a scheduled next exposure and you never want to leave without a clear next step. So you want to always make sure that you're booking a meeting at the meeting. Right, so if you have a call, if you have a 3-way call, if you have any of these meetings, make sure that you're booking another meeting at that meeting as well, right, family? So again, I know I was supposed to rant on for like 60 minutes, but that's pretty much everything summarized in a short context as well, man. But I just want to say, like thank you guys all so much for really just jumping on and listening to the information there from Mel, Ace, and myself as well. But let me just hand it over to Matt as well. But before I do that, just type a 1 in the chat if you guys have learned something here today as well. Before I hand it over to Matt as well. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. But yeah, man, appreciate you guys. Thank you guys all for listening. I'm gonna hand it back over to you, Matt. Let's go.
Perfect, bro. Thank you for the value. Appreciate you, bro, for all you do, man. And yeah, big shout out to all the speakers. So everyone blow up the chat for all our amazing speakers today. Big shout out to Mel, to Ace, to Shawnee, to everyone. I appreciate you guys all for hopping on this call. Let's go. Blow it up. Blow up the chat one time for all the speakers. And if you guys gain something or learn something that you guys can take away from Presenter School, just blow up the chat as well. And yeah, amazing job to all the amazing speakers, to all the people that did a great job today, and all the trainers as a whole. I know we could have learned a lot of information, and let's get it. So with that being said, thank you guys all for hopping on, and have an amazing night.